Good morning, Tempo Freaks and Raptor Freaks. Lexi here Sunday morning, and we've got a game at 3 p.m. today in Montreal. The Tempo playing the New York Liberty in the second time they played them this year. They played them in the Commissioner Cup, the first ever Commissioner's Cup game for Tempo history earlier this season and lost. So we're going to try and even the series this year with the Liberty today at 3 p.m. at a Bell Center again. So yeah, it should be a good crowd out there in Montreal again, the second of two Montreal games. And well, I'm going to start with the preview. And then also we're going to cover this team, the Toronto Raptors, who were at Summer League last night playing the Houston Rockets. I've got the stars of the game and the win over the Rockets in the second Summer League game in a back-to-back last night in Las Vegas. So yeah, let's get right to it. We'll start with the Tempo preview and we'll react to the Raptors Summer League game after that. All right, starting off with the injury list for the teams. Brittany Sykes is out for today. It's looking like the latest play time she could possibly return is still on Tuesday. You know, there is activity with Brittany in practice. So we'll have to see what's going on with her plantar fasciitis. It does seem like she has been a little bit more active in recent times. And hopefully, well, she is coming closer because we do need Brittany back. We're getting into a harder and harder stretch of the season with tough opponents, and we need our best, one of our best scorers out there, right? Kiki Rice is out also today. The soonest she can be returning is now listed as the Aces game on Monday next week. And so she's going to be missing at least the 3 games this week against Liberty, Mystics, and Dream. But Brittany is listed as possibly being able to come back on Tuesday, guys. Just so you know, Niara Sabali is on the injury list. And, well, it looks like she's questionable today. So there is a possibility that she could be back. She's dealing with a knee injury that she suffered the other day in a Valkyries game. So hopefully Niara maybe is available today. She is officially questionable. And Temi Fagbenle, she is out for sure today. She's still in concussion protocol, so she's not eligible to be playing today. So no Temi for sure. So no Temi, no Brittany, no Kiki, but Niara is questionable, can possibly play. So that's the injury list for the Tempo. Nobody else is listed. And yeah, that's it. That's it for us. On the other side of things, New York does have a few people that are injured right now. Leonie Fiebach, I guess she's German. She's out for the game yesterday. This is the interesting thing. The Liberty played yesterday. They have a back-to-back. This is not common in the WNBA. I don't think the Tempo have had a real back-to-back this season yet. Maybe one. But New York is working off a back-to-back where they were in Minnesota yesterday playing the Lynx, and they lost, and they're coming in to play the very next day. And not only that, in the afternoon at 3 p.m. in Montreal. So there is a back-to-back factor for the Liberty today that is actually in the favor of the Tempo. Fiebach did not play yesterday. There's a foot injury. And, well, let me see. Is she possible for today? Yeah, she's possible for today. So we'll see if she's still out or if they took her out yesterday just to save her for today. But yeah, she didn't play yesterday. Satu Sabali, the sister of Niara, is actually out right now as well. But she could be back today. She's been under a concussion protocol. But maybe this is a game where she returns. So maybe both the Sabali sisters are trying to meet up and play against each other today, coming back from injuries. We'll have to see. Nelly Mali is also hurt right now. Or wait, no, she's a developmental contract and should maybe not be playing today because of that. And then Marine Fasol is also developmental and may not be playing today also because they've got her listed out. And then Anika Salto is looking like she's out for the season, the forward. So yeah, who do they have? Well, Brianna Stewart, the all-star, is the leader of this team. John Kell Jones in the middle. Sabrina Ionescu, the shooter, she'll be back for this game. We did not see Sabrina in the first game against Liberty, so she'll be playing in this one. Pauline Astier, Marine Johannes, Hanju, Rebecca Gardner, Betja Laney Hamilton, Rebecca Allen, Raquel Carrera, Aubrey Griffin. That's their team. That's their team right now. So, yeah, the ESPN matchup predictor has given us a 33% chance to win today in Montreal against New York. So, yeah, it's not a very good win percentage. This is worse than the win percentage against Dallas on Friday. But I'd love to see the Tempo go against the grain and get a big surprise win. They're due for this. They're on a losing streak right now. And, well, the 4-game losing streak sucks. And it's time to end it. So let's surprise some people. Sandy, you got to get even with your old team. Let's beat them. Isabel, Niara, come back and let's beat your former team that you won a championship with Coach Sandy. That's right. We need to make a statement. We were very close to competing all the way with Dallas on Friday and could have won that game if a couple things went our way. So let's try and do better today, Tempo, and let's get the dub for the fans in Montreal. The referees for the game at 3 o'clock. Crew chief will be Kevin Fahey, number 43. We have a record of 1-1 with Kevin so far this season. Kelsey Reynolds will be the referee, number 22. Our record with Kelsey is 1-2. So, and then the third ref will be Blanca Burns, number 8, as the umpire. And we have not had Blanca as a ref yet this season. So the cumulative record for the referees and the Tempo today is 2-3. 2-3. 2 wins, 3 losses. Yeah. So yeah, Kevin Fahey, Kelsey Reynolds, Blanca Burns is the ref crew. So yeah, there's my preview for the Liberty and the Tempo in Montreal. I mean, look, we've got to continue to try and develop and get more out of Isabel in post stuff and pick and rolls and the way we've been using her in the last couple games. That we need to explore that and get it more going, because that's a good balance for Marina's outside shooting. Yeah, and I would say once again, Sandy, start Laura. Start her. Play her 30 to 35 minutes, because her minutes out there are winning minutes for the Toronto Tempo. So do not shy away from your Lithuanian player because she's a rookie and because she's got a European learning curve. In some ways, she's taking to the WNBA game in a productive way, better than some of the other young Euro rookies. Yeah. Yeah. So, lean into who's playing awesome is what I would say. So, yeah, well, I expect hopefully the starting lineup will be Julia Lamont, Marita Mabry, Yescada, Harrison, and Sabley. But who knows? And probably Conde is going to be starting somewhere there. Who knows? But, yeah, we got to continue to do the work on the boards. You substitute Jessica Shepard for Brianna Stewart as far as a big that's going to be active and difficult to handle as far as getting off the boards and doing stuff inside. So be ready to try and deal with Stewie. That's right. And then, just like with Dallas and Paige Beckers, you got to watch out for Ionescu and make sure that she's just not getting free looks, easy looks. You got to get in her face, and you can't let her just have easy shots here and there. We got to find her is what I'm saying. The other thing that was huge in the game last time we played the Liberty was Jones. Jones was a force. Jones had a monster game, and Jones did whatever she wanted to do, and we can't allow that either. If you have to play Kayla Alexander just to foul her, to slow her down, do it. Seriously, because at least size-wise, height-wise, Kayla Alexander can look eye to eye with Jonquel Jones. So, that's somebody. These are people we need to neutralize. Those three in particular, Stewart, Ionescu, and Jones, because they are. And then there's all these Europeans on their team that can be very dangerous in other ways also. So, yeah, let's hope that this back-to-back has the women of the Liberty a little worn down and maybe not their sharpest today, especially since it's an early afternoon game after a travel from the state of Minnesota. Yeah, and they did lose yesterday. So they are feeling a little bit of that right now also. So yeah, there's my preview and check-in for the Tempo game. Now I'll do my review of the Raptors Summer League game. But first, here's the Toronto Tempo Redder of the day. It's Kerfuffles 80. And Kerfuffles posted yesterday what to expect at Tempo Live, a free fan event in Montreal yesterday. So yesterday they had an in-between event between the two games in Montreal, Saturday afternoon, and it was at the Bell Center. And they had, they had face painting, which is pretty cool. It's section 102 and 103. They had face painting to get ready for the game. At 104, 105, they had build a sign and show your support with Canadian Tire. Interesting. Section 113, get your photo taken at the Sephora Tempo locker room. Section 116 was celebrate your day ones and get a limited edition patch with CIBC. Section 117, spin the wheel for a Tempo prize and also customize a Tempo pennant flag. And yeah, they had a lot of different fun events, and the players were out there too. I saw Laura and Tiani signing autographs for the fans yesterday at the Fan Fest. One at section 118, they had shoot your shot at Papa Shot. So they had a Papa Shot game there. Section 121 and 122, snap a photo with the Walter Cup, which is interesting. The Walter Cup. What's the Walter Cup? Is that a cup for the WNBA that I don't know about? Is it the Commissioner's Cup? I don't know. Also, they had learn the Tempo dance routines with Retmans, and also step into the press box with Sephora and meet Tempo team from 12 to 3. So that's when Laura Yasketa and Tiani Key were down there signing autographs. I think Temo was there too, along with Ornella. So they had a couple of tables with Tempo players signing autographs for fans in Montreal. They also had become the ultimate Tempo fan at fan camp and strike a pose courtside at the South Court. So yeah, lots of fun yesterday for the free event at FanFest, which was yesterday at Bell Center, celebrating Tempo's weekend in Montreal this weekend. So thank you, Kerfuffles 80, for being informative once again with the FanFest information. And I'm sure yesterday was just a fantastic, fun time for a lot of people, especially the kids. That's right. We want to do stuff that's fun for the kids, right? For the kids. All right, let's see. We're going to go over the Raptors Summer League game now. Man, I was so much more happier with the Summer League game yesterday than the one against Boston. The Boston game was ugly, but this game was kind of ugly too. There were a lot of fouls in this game between both the teams, 61 fouls, and a lot of lead changes, a lot of ties. It was a very competitive game for most of the game, but then in the second quarter, kind of the Raptors got a bit of a distance and got ahead of them by about 11. And then Houston had a better third, and then we closed it out in the fourth and ended up winning 102 to 89. Really solid stuff by certain people on this team. And well, we'll go over the stars real quick. Star of the game, number one star is Seth Lundy, the 2-year player in the NBA who has some NBA experience, stepped up. And well, he did that lose yourself Eminem moment. I said, there's no tomorrow. Do what you do. He said in the game afterwards in the interview that he didn't like his performance against the Celtics, that he felt like he was not shooting well and did not put his best foot forward. So he is very dogged and determined to do it against the Rockets last night. And boy, did he. Boy, did he. He was looking like Marina Mabrey out there, bombing threes, going 6 for 9 from the three-point land. 23 points for Seth in 29 minutes on 8 of 11 shooting and 6 of 9 from 3. He made his only free throw, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, plus 11. Yeah, Seth looked like a solid wing right there. In some ways, it was a cool performance. He said that his strength is shooting, so he needs to shoot well. Well, he did that in that game. I don't know how much that gets you in the NBA or what, but it doesn't look bad either. It gets you the number one star in a Summer League game with me. So, Seth Lundy, you go on then. You got 3 or 4 more games of Summer League to go ahead and show your stuff. while you're here still. And who knows? Fuck around. Maybe you get an invite to training camp like Nate Biddle. Yeah, yeah, maybe you do. Who knows? It's a very interesting game by him. He was on fire, honestly. The stuff he was shooting was very much heat check stuff sometimes. My second star of the game is very surprising because we saw a whole other side to the 7'5" Jamarian Sharp that we didn't see in the first game. There was some interesting things that happened with Sharp yesterday. He did find his offense to a degree, but it was all lobs. It was crazy. We did a inbounds play where we lobbed to him, AJ Hogarth, perfect pass, and boom, Jamarian Sharp rocking the rim. There were a couple of putbacks. There were a couple of in transition alley-oops where he just took it and put it. He was playing very aggressive. He looked a lot more capable. And then at the end of the game, they employed Hack-a-Shack on Jamarian Sharp because he's such a bad free throw shooter. And the rule that they're playing in Summer League this year is the one free throw for 2 points, like G League. And well, they were trying to get hollow possessions from us by fouling Sharp on purpose in the fourth quarter and hoping that he missed the free throws. Well, he took those challenges and he ended up shooting quite well from the free throw line on those shots. So they couldn't make up ground in a cheap way like that. Yeah. So kudos to Jamarian. Really, really proud of him. He was very effective in certain ways. And in some ways, he made the door open a little bit for possibility of having a future with the Raptors. Seriously. So let's go over his stat line. He outscored his minutes per game, 17 points in 16 minutes. And a lot of that was free throws and dunks. It was all free throws and dunks. He didn't shoot a shot outside. He just dominated inside and rim rocket. Maybe it was an offensive rebound putback. As I said, maybe it was a lob pass where he threw it down. But he's got such a long arms that he can go get it from real high and throw it down. And that's what we want to see more of. I mean, I can see potential with Sharp if he's going to play like he did yesterday, but he does have weaknesses and there are ways to cover up his strengths. So yeah, Sharp, 17 points in 16 minutes on 5 of 5 shooting. That's all dunks. That's all dunks. It's real easy to go 5 for 5 when you're just jamming it in at 7'5". He was 5 for 8 at the free throw line. He did miss 3 free throws, but out of 8, he made 5. So, hey, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. He had 7 rebounds. He only had 1 turnover, and he had 2 blocks also. He was a plus 13. Yeah, Sharp looked fantastic. We had a 1-2 punch of him and Biddle as the centers, and I felt like they both offered different things, and they're both very quality in certain ways. Good quality play from the 5 spot for the Raptors in Summer League last night. I'm still waiting for Aziz Abandongo. He has cool hair. And, he's going to get to play in one of these games coming up against the Pacers or the Heat because they do this. They cycle through part of the Summer League roster, and then they bring in new guys later on to get a look at all of them. So we will see Aziz at some point. But right now, that was the Jamarian Sharp show last night. And I was here for it. It was nice. Oh, I'm so happy to say this is my 3rd star of the game for last night, and it's Tyreke Key. Tyreke Key got beat up bad in the first game against Boston. No respect. Slammed to the floor, hit all over the place. Refs wouldn't call jack shit. Well, Tyreke, last night, he, much like Sharp, outscored his minutes. 18 minutes for Tyreke Key, 19 points on 4 of 6 shooting, including 3 of 4 from 3. His 3 is so pure. When he's wide open and he nails it, ooh-wee. I love seeing Tyreke Key hit threes at the top of the key for the 905 last year. All last year. Oh, yeah. It was so gratifying to see him have a good game last night. Seriously, because I'm rooting for him. He does things right, the general out of Tennessee. Yeah, 4 for 4 at the free throw line also. 3 for 4 from 3. 2 rebounds, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block. A plus 14 for Tyreke Key. Yeah, they were using a strong 905 contingency last night with Degenhart, Hogarth, Chucky, and Tyreke. And those guys all played together a lot last year on Raptors 905. So in some ways, it's a cheat code for Summer League because you got guys that know each other's proclivities and enough time on court to have already been gelled. So that actually was helpful in this game last night. Coach Evo did play a very heavy 905 team for sections of the game, and that connection was evident. Hogarth, Hepburn, Degenhart, they all have played together, and Key also. And their familiarity with each other and their trust was showing in this game to help them have a difference over the young Rockets. Yeah, so Tyreek Key is my third star of the game. Going to my fourth star of the game, I'm going to go with the Michigan product, Nimari Burnett, number 25. Started again and had a solid play. In some ways, last night, he really reminded me of Norman. He's playing very much like Norman. There's a certain level of elevator up for Nimari Burnett, and he had a backdoor cut jam. He attacked the rim and jammed it on them, and then he was bombing threes too. Very, very Norman Powell kind of offense, and similar type of player with the height and his length of his wingspan at that height. You know, if Nimari hits the weight room and bulks up a bit more, you could be a very similar player to Norman Powell if you play your cards right. So figure it out, Wolverine. Figure it out. But yeah, Nimari, 22 minutes, 14 points on 4 of 9 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3. His 3-pointers are not going in exactly right. He's only made 1 of 9 in the first 2 games, but he's aggressive at attacking the rim. He's also getting in there, getting rebounds and getting loose balls. And he is, you know, the 3 he hit was really cool because he stepped into it in transition in confidence and knew he was going to make it. Nobody was near him, and he just went and did it. And I was like, that's an awesome shot. That's a good shot because it showed confidence in himself that he knew he could step right into that 3 and nail it. And he did. He did. 2 for 3 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steals, a +1 for Burnett. And he's gotten a star in both the games so far because he's been a solid contributor, even if it's just around the teens in scoring. He's been helpful, and I see why he's been starting these games. My fifth and final star for the game last night is our number 1 draft pick, Alan Graves. Alan Graves was not as pronounced as in the Boston game with his 22 points in the first game. He only had 9 in this one, but he showed all those intangibles once again last night as far as getting after it, boxing out, hustling after loose balls, being a shit disturber and causing deflections and turnovers, and just doing all around stuff. And he did hit a very important 3 at one point where he was left open and he made them pay. That's a thing that I love to see. He had all the time in the world and he was wide open, and he took his time and fundamentally hit that 3 and made them pay. So that's a good sign right there. There were a bunch of good signs with Allen. And I think that Raptors fans should be very pleased with the pick that Bobby made because of what he's showing already. Now, people will say how much of that's going to translate from summer league to the regular NBA. Yeah, you're going to see it translate because I'll tell you one thing, hustle translates. And this man be hustling out there. And the other thing that's really great about number 22, Alan Graves of Santa Clara, is that he is really premeditative. I'm watching him out there, and he's a couple of plays ahead of the action. And the greats are all like that. So he can kind of tell where things are moving towards, and he can get in the right vicinity to make the right action because he's premeditating things, and he has a high basketball IQ. And he's very, very good at watching his teammates and seeing where they're moving to and working off of them, whether it's him with the ball or them having the ball and being ready to get the ball. So, yeah, Alan Graves, 27 minutes, 9 points on 4 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. That 3 was really nice when he hit it. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, and a steal, a +7. Yeah, I just liked his game. It was solid, you know, and I thought that he deserved to get a star still, even though he only scored 9. He had a lot of intangibles that don't show up on the box score, but are there. They're there. All right, we'll go over the rest of them real quick. Nate Biddle, it's fantastic. I'll give him an honorable mention. He was a lot of fun. He hit a 3 also. It was a really weird 3 that was going out but rimmed back in, and it showed real shooter's touch the way that he hit his 3. It went around the rim, bounced against the backboard, and then ran back and then fell in. And those shot, that shows like very high skill. I like it. And then the block shot that Nate Biddle had was very unorthodox also. He had a side block shot, which is like I call it when, like, you know, most of the time block shots vertical, where you're coming up and you're coming like this, but he came to the side and extended his arm across and blocked the dude at the basket horizontally, which was very interesting. It was very cool. Nate Biddle, 19 minutes, 9 points, 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, made both his free throws, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, and 1 block, a -5. Jamarian was playing so well, and he was such a defensive factor. He really was making people think twice about trying to come in and score, that he ended up getting most of the crunch time play late. It was almost like Biddle and Sharp were like an offensive defensive substitution. You want offense, you're playing to get the lead, play Biddle. He'll get you threes and he'll do that stuff. But then you want to shut them down, and you got the lead now. You're up by 12 and you're trying to close the game. Put Sharp out there and he'll make it a lot harder for the Rockets to score inside. And I think that was the strategy employed by Coach Evo to at that part of the game. Is like Biddle, help him get the lead. He'll help get the lead. He'll be an offensive center. And then, well, when we have the lead and we want to protect it, we'll bring in the defensive guy. They'll shut him down. It's very football, you make the decisions when you want to just run because you got the lead. You're protecting the lead, right? And that's what we did last night with our 2 centers. I still want to see Bendago. I really do. I think he's going to be cool. Chucky Hepburn's going to get an honorable mention from me also. He's just not hitting it offensively yet. He's 6 months out with the surgery and being out last year, and he's coming back. These are the first 2 games back, and his offensive rhythm is not right yet. But that doesn't mean Chucky is worthless on the court. He's been the floor general. He's been directing things, and he's done a good job. In fact, he may not have got the points, but he had the highest plus minus out of all the Raptors yesterday, plus 25. And that's him being a floor general. I saw before the game, Fred VanVleet was at the game, sitting at courtside to watch the Rockets. And, well, he came up to Chucky on the way in and hugged him. And, there's probably a real respect between 2 undrafted guys and seeing each other in certain ways. Chucky probably looks up to Fred as a mentor and a role model. And Fred looks at Chucky and says, you know what? That guy was me in 2015, 2016. So, yeah, Chucky, I'm glad that you have a mentor or somebody like Fred in your life, even if he was going for the other team last night. But, yeah, Fred probably enjoyed some of the stuff he saw Chucky doing on the court, even though he was the op. Yeah, Chucky, 29 minutes with only 2 points, 1 of 5 from the field, missed all 3 of his threes, didn't get the free throw line once, but 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 turnovers, and 2 steals, a plus 25. Yeah, he had a factor in this game. He gets honorable mention, but he didn't score enough. And he really was the leader of this game, the leader of this team for the Raptors and helping them win. Yeah, going to the rest of them off the bench. 905's AJ Hogarth got to play in this one. Didn't play against Boston, but got in this one. And he had 21 minutes, 7 points on 2 of 8 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3. He made his only free throws, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, and 2 steals, a plus 9. Yeah, AJ was solid. AJ was solid. And like I said, that comfort of playing with guys that you played with last year, and it gives you a real sense of confidence. And I thought that AJ was dogged like he normally is. He's a pest on defense, and he's a little bit of an uncanny scorer that can find really interesting ways to get points, even though he's not one of the better players out there. So good job, AJ Hogarth. Tyson Degenhart's just a hustle man. In some ways, he didn't score at all. He got 10 minutes out there, 0 for 2, missed his only 3, 1 rebound, 1 turnover, and a -2. But it's fun to see Tyson out there battling. Like I said, Tyson often has to play power forward or center, and he's really a small forward body, but he's out there giving it his all, and he's definitely hustling. There's one point where Tyson hit the floor hard on his side, and I was really worried about him. It looked like that would hurt most people, but he got up, and he was fine, which is crazy because that hit looks so crazy the way he hit his side of his body on the court underneath the basket. Yikes. Yikes. And finally, 2nd-round pick, Jaden Bradley out of Arizona. He is not impressing me. He had 1 basket in this game finally. He didn't really score in the first game. And now he finally had 1 play where he beat a guy and got to the hoop with a layup. But that's it. It's really bad. Like, this dude should be playing big minutes. He should be playing like 30 minutes, just like the other guys, the starters, 25 to 30 minutes. They only played him 8 minutes. because he's not doing anything to contribute in any kind of way. He's a below average defender, and he is not scoring in the least. So I'm very disappointed in our second round pick, Jaden Bradley, so far. He's got a hill to climb to get in the right books with me. I know it's early and he's just feeling his way out and he's brand new and it's all new. But in some ways, the way he carries himself and how he's acting is not matching up his output and what he's contributing. And he needs to get over himself and understand this is a whole other level and it's new. And everything that had to do with Arizona and college, it don't fucking mean shit here. You are in a new league and you're in the big league. And this league is hard. And if you can't do jack shit in summer league, you're not going to do anything for the Raptors in the regular court in the regular season. You'll be playing for Noah in Mississauga. Seriously, 8 minutes, 2 points on 1 of 3 shooting. He missed his only 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, and a -8. See, he even had 3 turnovers in 8 minutes. This is not looking good. In some ways, I'm worried that Jaden Bradley is a bust. And he may be one of the very few bust picks that we pick with Bobby Webster, Masai Ujiri. Yeah. Man, it's too bad because I want to root for the guy. We'll see. Maybe he'll show something by the end of summer league still that makes me say, oh, okay, this is why we drafted him. But so far, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. I'm hoping next time we'll get to see the guys because once again, they DMP'd Elijah Martin and Colin Murray-Boyles and street clothes at the end of the bench. And well, am I going to win the bet with the Neil after all? Just because Colin doesn't suit up or the summer league games? Because this is possible. They could be doing all the work with Colin Murray-Boyles in the ballroom and teaching him this and that, but he doesn't actually suit up and play any of the summer league games. I'm wondering if these guys are like, we just don't want to play in summer league. I'm kind of hurt. I don't really want to play. And in some ways, they're like, yeah, that's fine because we need you for the season. And we can't take any risks with Colin Murray-Boyles getting hurt in Vegas. I mean, that's what I was saying a couple months ago. And Neil wasn't listening to me. He's like, no, Colin will play. Colin will play. Well, he hadn't played yet. And honestly, he probably should have played the first game and that's it. But now he hasn't played the first 2 games. They'll probably try and sneak him in there still in one of these games. But there's no telling. It could very well be that Colin does not make an appearance at Vegas Summer League this week. And Elijah with him. I don't think Elijah's really wanting to get out there. See, if I was Elijah Martin, it's different. Colin Murray-Boyles, he's got his spot. He's proven shit. He's gone to the playoffs and played at a high level against the Cavs. Elijah, you ain't done jack shit in the NBA yet. You are very good in the G League. You did very good stuff for 905, but you ain't done nothing for the Raptors yet. And in some ways, I would be taking every opportunity. I know you're probably hurt, and it's for real. And but if you're kind of hurt and you think you're above playing in summer league, and that's why you're sitting out right now, Elijah Martin, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. You can ask Grady Dick last year. Yeah, Grady probably should have played in summer league last year, but he didn't because he was above it. And then you saw the season that Grady had, and then he got traded. So Elijah Martin, I'm warning you, bro. You are not Colin Murray-Boyles and can afford to sit out summer league. You need to get out there and show stuff because you're trying to earn stuff still. Yeah, you got a contract. You got a full contract, but it's not guaranteed next year. And you got to start the work now. And in some ways, man, missing summer league games isn't smart for you. I'm telling you right now, it isn't. Chucky understands. He's got to reclaim some things because he's been hurt with his injury. And he's getting out there and getting after it and showing stuff. Michael Grange is writing articles on him this morning. He should be writing articles about you also in there. And I'm sure you were mentioning it as a roster filler going out to fill the roster now. But still, Elijah, man, don't make the same mistake Grady made last year and sit yourself out for the whole summer league because you think you're above it. Man, you're not above it, bro. You need this summer league. Trust me. Deshaun Nix is out there tearing it up for Rockets, and he's just as good as you are. And I saw y'all talking to each other because of games last year, Grand Rapids versus Raptors 905. Yeah, Deshaun Nix is out there. He's working. He's doing his stuff for that side. And to me, you're at the same level as Deshaun Nix in some ways. Seriously. Looking at the other side for the Rockets, we'll give some props to people, including Deshaun Nix off the bench, 16 points for him in 24 minutes. Leading scorer Tristan Newton with 18 points. And their rookie, Bruce Thornton, really annoying player, had 5 steals with 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. The battle between Chucky and Thornton was really fun to watch. Apparently, they had played each other in college, and they have some history. And so they really were competitive with each other. Really, really competitive. The refs were kind of weird at times, but mostly okay. Nate Searley, yeah, was the crew chief. And there was some confusion at times, but they mostly got things right. The outcome was great, so I'm not too upset with things. And the free throws doled out were pretty even. In fact, I would think they were exactly even. So, yeah, let's go over the team stats real quick for Raptors and Rockets last night. The Raptors shot a scorching 51% as a team, which is fantastic. That's way better than the shooting performance on Friday night. And this is what I was looking for. Lundy and Tyreek in particular, and a 5 for 5 for Sharp. That really helps. But 37% from the field for the Rockets. They actually got 6 more shots on goal than us, but we made 6 more field goals than them because we shot so much better. Free pointers, they made 14, we made 13. So pretty close there. We shot 42%, which is very good. At the free throw line, both teams got 19 attempts, and the Raptors made 15 of them at 79%, and the Rockets made 13 at 68%. So we shot better than them, and that's part of the reason why we won. Rebounding, out-rebounded them 37-30. Assist to turnover ratio was bad, 22-21 for the Raptors. So pretty much a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And they were even worse, 15 assists for 19 turnovers. So they turned the ball over more than they actually made passes. Yeah, steals were very plentiful in this game, 14 steals for the Rockets and 11 steals for us. And then, yeah, the points in the paint, they don't have that on here, apparently. They don't have it on this one. I don't know why. Normally they do. But yeah, good win by the Raptors. I thought that Coach Evo did a better job coaching this game in some ways. I did like the defensive substitution of Sharp at the end to kind of close out the game, even though Biddle was the starter. You get Sharp out there. He's a really good deterrent from anything easy down low. And when the Rockets are desperate to try and make up the lead and score, they're so desperate they're hack-a-shacking Jamari and Sharp to try and get him out of the game. Well, Sharp stood up to the line, made the free throws, and made them pay for hack-a-shacking. Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff. So, yeah, interesting game, fun game. Good to see Freddie at the game. And, Keith Pelly sitting at the end. I want to talk about Keith Pelly real quick. First of all, we'll do our Raptors Redditor of the day. It is Kyle993. And he has posted the Open Gym episode that dropped yesterday at noon, commemorating Kyle Lowry's retirement ceremony this week. It was fantastic behind-the-scenes stuff. Now, Kyle's trying not to cry throughout the whole thing. He's basically saying, I don't cry, guys. I'm not going to cry. Dude, you were teary-eyed as fuck. And you were so emotional on the underneath, watching your tribute videos, seeing all the things that the Raptors did to roll out excellence and honoring you. Yeah, you were on the down low. You're just holding it. You have these crazy eyes that can hold in the liquid. That's what you were doing, Kyle. I could see it. Your emotion was written all over your face. And technically, maybe you didn't cry, but you're a master of holding the tears back. That's what it was, bro. You can't fool me, Kalo. You were holding back the tears. They were all puddling and pooling with water, but you didn't let it come out. That didn't break. The watershed did not break. One of the funniest moments of the Open Gym is Keith Pelly's dumbass coming up to Kyle and shaking his hand. First of all, it's like Kyle don't know Keith Pelly. Keith Pelly, you showed up after Kyle left. Okay, first of all, so don't act like y'all are familiar or you're friends, right? It's not like Kyle has bonds with everybody else, like Bobby and Jennifer Quinn and John Attilia and the strength and conditioning coach and Dr. Alex and all these people that Kyle actually worked with. Keith Pelly, you just showed up in the last couple of years after Kyle was gone. And what did you do? You came up to Kyle and you said, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. What the fuck do you think? It's his retirement ceremony. He's not going to come? Like, y'all asked him to come and he doesn't show up. He's like, oh, no, thanks for having this for me. Seriously. And he's like, what's wrong with this guy? It's like, it shows how, in some ways, it shows two things. It shows that Keith Pelly is dumb, first of all. And then second, it's like he's missing the point on things. Like, what do you think this is? What do you think? Thanks for coming. Like, we invited him over for dinner and he's just coming over as a dinner guest. No, this is an honor for him. This is something he's dreamed of. This is something that he wants. In some ways, your dumbass comment is belittling the moment. Like, thanks for coming. Like, he wouldn't come for his own retirement. He said he was going to do this years ago. And he said this. In some ways, you got to watch that part. And you'll even see Kyle make the eyes like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? As he's embracing him awkwardly. And it's just like, yeah, okay, what the fuck is this? He's like, thanks for coming. I mean, yeah. Keith Pelly, you're an idiot, bro. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Kyle, to your own retirement ceremony where we're gonna honor you and roll out the red carpet and do all this stuff. And he's like, no, I mean, thanks for doing this, is what he's saying. Yeah. Keith Pelly. And I see him at the end of the sideline at the Summer League game, sitting there with Dr. Alex. And I just wonder what kind of dumbass questions he's asking the Raptors staff. Like, what kind of stupid shit is he asking the coaches and Dr. Alex and the strength and conditioning coach? He's sitting over there with Pat Delaney and Steven Silas and Jama. Like, what fucking dumbass things is he asking? Oh, I bet they're so stupid, some of the questions that Keith Pelly asked them. I bet they're so dumb. But they have to really kiss his ass and really be like, yeah, here, Keith, this is what we're talking about and stuff. But well, they got to be careful with him because he's a shark. And in some ways, they have to appease him and be cool with him, but also put up with him. I'm sure they have to put up with him too. It's crazy. All right, let me see. We got some chat now. Let's see what people are saying this morning. Cool Cat is the first one in the chat this morning. Coach Cool Cat, good morning to you. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. We got a dub in Summer League. That's right. We got that dub over the Rockets last night and Deshaun Knicks. It was a fun game. Watching it with Adriana here. And I'm very proud of Jamarian Sharp. I'm proud of him for making 17 points from the free throws and the dunks. And Seth Lundy, you go on and get it, my guy. Go on and get it. You got to take that brass ring when you see it in front of you, my guy. And well, you're making a big chance in your opportunity here. Making a big chance there. That's right. Kaloy's here. Good morning to Kaloy. Morning, everyone. Can we kick Bradley off of the two-way? I thought he was good from the draft profile. Yeah, well, we can. Yeah. Two-ways are switchable like underwear in the morning. That's the thing. Two-ways can be switched around. And, we got to give him room. If anything, he could become the third two-way, which means third in the hierarchy, which means very much 905 for the whole season. If they see promise in him for some reason, it may very well be this is a year that you have to learn in the G League, guy, that you have to play as primarily the G League, and you got to build your way up through there. I mean, Chucky's got to do it. In fact, Chucky's further along. He's already showing some promise where he could help the big club. But, Jaden, you're going to have to go to 905, my guy. I don't even know, like in some ways I'm with Kaloy. I'm like, I'm not impressed with this dude. And he's got a long hill to climb already. It just making his first impressions like this. He really does. Fiercey's here. Good morning, Fiercey. Good morning, fam. And happy game day, Tempo. I love that she has the colors of our team in the hearts. They look so cool together too. That blue and that purple right there. Fiercey, that's awesome. I love that. I'm going to give you a dunk. Fiercey is the dunk champion right now. She's got the lead in the dunks, I believe, right now. She's at 129 on the dunk charts. It's not Kareem Thomas or Isaac Campbell right now. Fiercey is going for a dunk championship this year. So, yeah, I love those hearts. So I want to give you a dunk just for the hearts. Just for the hearts. That's right. Mr. Greg is in the house. Good morning, Mr. Greg. Happy Sunday to you. Good morning, Fiercey and family. Good morning to you. And I hope we can enjoy a great game today at 3 p.m. The Tempo versus the Liberty in Montreal once again. And hopefully the Tempo get a fair shake with the refs and we see good health from Sabali. And maybe we get a Sabali sister matchup today. Maybe both of them can show up and play against each other. They don't want to miss this opportunity to face each other, Niara and Satu. So let's see the Sabali sisters out there because we want to see them play, both of them. That's right. Fiercey saying congrats on the win, Raptors. That's right. It was it's Summer League. In some ways, it's like take it as it is. To me, it's just that I like seeing the team play well with good shooting. The bad shooting in summer league in the first game was but this one was definitely a good shooting game, and we saw a lot of promise. And I'm proud of Tyreek Key. I'm proud of Chucky Hepburn. I'm proud of AJ Hogarth. I'm proud of those guys. Those 905 guys that some ways have a special place in my heart from watching them so much last year and seeing their excellence under Drew Jones III and the way they play. And they played as a team, unselfish. And it's so fun to see them kind of in this version in Summer League running together out there. It's too bad Elijah is not playing. I'm saying it right again. Elijah Martin, you should be out there running with your 905 teammates and looking good too. Seriously, you could be out there dropping a 30 probably, Martin, right now. In some ways, that's what I'm saying, Elijah. You really need these games. And if you're sitting out for some wussy ass injury, man, get right and get out there. Seriously, you can't be like Colin. I'm telling you right now, Colin's bona fide. He's good. He's got his shit set up for next year. You do not, Elijah Martin. So you need to get your shit going. Get out there. Get out there. Isaac's here. Good morning to Isaac Campbell, the benevolent one. Isaac Campbell saying, Lou Will commented that Colin Murray-Boyles' middle finger on the same hand he previously injured was wrapped up. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Colin has had injuries to his hands, kind of like Scotty has, and part of it is because they be dunking so much. So, you know what? We got a lot of time before the season. Dr. Alex, tell this guy what he needs to do and get him right before the season. I don't mind him not playing in Summer League. Like I said, I didn't think he should be at Summer League. The man's advanced. He's already passed it. Scotty only played one summer of Summer League, right? Colin Murray-Boyles could only play one league of summer league. Some people need to play 2 years. Some people need to play 3 years. And, well, Jacoby Walter, he played 2 years. Colin should be maybe playing 2 years, but he's going to play 1 year so far, it seems like. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah. Yeah. Kaloy saying, I want to see points Colin Murray-Boyles. I know they teased us with it. They talked about it. Coach Evo talked about it. But now Colin's sitting out. He's sitting on the sideline. So I don't know. I would like to see that too. Yeah. William Lou, same thing. That's right. Mick saying that Martin sucks. Good morning to Mick. Thank you for the subscription. You think Elijah Martin sucks? I think he's a good player. I think that he has a lot of promise. It's just that it's not that he sucks. It's just that he has a position that's very difficult to be successful in the NBA with. You're 6'4" shooting guard, and the trend is that a lot of shooting guards are 6'8". So you're giving a lot of height up, and you don't play point guard, traditional point guard necessarily. He can pass it around and be a distributor, but he's not technically playing like a true point guard. In fact, that's what we should have seen is like Elijah maybe doing what Evo wanted to do with Colin. Get out there and be a playmaker and show that aspect of yourself. Because honestly, this league is not for 6'4" shooting guards. This league is for 6'4" combo guards that can switch like Emmanuel quickly from point guard to shooting guard. And, Elijah, if you really want long legs and longevity in the NBA, you're going to need to have this. I'm telling you right now, if you're not developing your playmaking skills to be more point guard-ish in certain ways, you're fucked, bro. You're not going to make this league. And you haven't technically totally made this league. I know you got a guarantee, you got a contract for this year, a standard contract, but that doesn't mean you made this league. Making this league means you're a rotation piece and you've got yourself ensconced like Sandro did this year. Like Sandro played in the league for a bunch of years on the Bucks and the Spurs, but he didn't really find his footing or place, and he didn't really hit it until this year with us, and then he got paid. Well, Elijah, where do you want to say the finish line is for you? Oh, you got a standard contract? You're good? You can rest on your laurels? You're good now? Nah, bro. If you really want to stick in this league like Fred VanVleet, you got to keep going. Because if you think you're good, man, you've got so much more work to do. And, I wouldn't say what Mick said, that you suck. I'd say that you have a very difficult player build and who you are to make the league with longevity. You could be a guy who just plays in the league for 3 or 4 years. Yeah, that's real easy and simple for guys at your talent level. But if you want to figure out how to stick with a niche and be in this league, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing right there. Mr. Greg saying Keith Pelly is dumb. I used to work with him. He is dumb. We can confirm this. Mr. Greg has worked with Keith Pelly, and he can confirm from interaction with him that he is dumb. Yeah, that's such a dumb thing to say. Why would you say to the GOAT, Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Why this fucking event is nothing without him being here. It's like, bro, if he didn't come this time, we'd put it off and do it the next month or another time. But no, July 7th, perfect. 7-7 for 7. And Keith Pelly, why are you thanking Kyle for coming? It's his retirement ceremony, and we're honoring him. He wants to be here. He loves being here. He's thanking you for doing this. And you're meanwhile over your head. Like, I don't understand what the fuck is wrong with you, bro. Thank you for coming. What a dumbass, man. Did I ruin your weekend? Kaloy saying this. They really said Bradley was like Shed. No way. No way. No, the guy who's more like Shed is Chucky. Chucky. Yeah, Chucky's more like Shed as far as stealing the ball and just being a dogged defender. You know, he's more like him. Chucky is more. I mean, if we're going to look at the hierarchy of these guys, because, well, last year it was ranking Oshai, Grady, and Jacoby and Jamison in the hierarchy of the shooters and the shooting guard position. Well, we got point guard hierarchy. You know, we got IQ at the top, and he will stay at the top. Nobody's going to pass IQ. Jamal Shed at second and backup point guard, and he's fantastic. And everybody who thinks Jamal Shed should start over IQ, you're crazy, first of all, because IQ is a way better player than Jamal Shed. And Jamal Shed's good, trust me. He's good, but he's not the same player on offense that IQ is, okay? And then I would say, you know, Elijah is the next in line, but in some ways, he's very close to Chucky. Chucky is very, very much nipping on his heels. In some ways, Elijah is more ahead because he didn't get hurt halfway through the season like Chucky. But if I'll bet you money, if Chucky Hepburn had not gotten hurt last year, in some ways, he could have been the one getting the standard contract this summer instead of Elijah Martin, because he was like that. There's more usefulness in Chucky Hepburn than Elijah Martin to a degree. There just is, because of certain skills and things that Chucky does. And Chucky just gets after it. And then, you know, at the bottom of the 5 is Jaden Bradley. And I'm just like, I don't see this guy so far from what I've seen from him competing with any of the other 4 guys to jump over the ladder to get up there, because this is what Fred did. Fred came into the Raptors organization. He was like the positional 4th or 5th point guard when he first showed up. He had Kyle, Corey Joseph, DeLon Wright, and maybe even some other jabroni somewhere in there between him and being at the top and getting to starting point guard. Well, Fred rose all the way up the depth chart and became the starting point guard eventually. And, you know, that's what I'm talking about here is what is Chucky Hepburn's rise? What is Jaden Bradley's rise? What is Elijah Martin's? I just don't see it. I really see our point guards as Quickly and Shed, and those guys are just solidly there. Injury, bring up Hepburn, because Hepburn's a more true point guard, and in some ways he has a whole defensive aspect to him that is very useful in the NBA, because he can be absolutely a pest on the ball. Absolutely a pest on the ball. Elijah say, yeah, I can be a pest on the ball too, but are you distributing? Are you making your other teammates better with passes too? That's the thing. This is going to be an interesting positional battle this year with the Raptors. This positional battle that I just described. It's kind of like last year with Jacoby and Grady and them and Oshai. And we know Jacoby won that battle overall. Oshai got traded. Grady got traded. Jamison is still in the mix. He's still around. But yeah, Jacoby won that battle. Oh, yeah, he did. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Kaloy said Evo got forced to bench Bradley. I hope he snaps out of it. Some of it's foul trouble. Some of it is just dumb turnovers that weren't necessary. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's got to do. In some ways, he's got to, you know, this is a tough league. And if you think anything's easy, if you're coming into this and thinking you're just a badass and everything's going to be easy for you, you're wrong. You're wrong. Elijah got that lesson last year. You got that lesson last year. That's right. Fiercely saying this. New York Liberty are no joke. Sabrina Iescu is back, and she's draining threes like crazy. Maureen Johannes is also their wizard of threes. Jonkel Jones has great paint presence, and Stewie is their leader. Yeah, it's a tough team. It's a well-built team. It's an established team that has been playing and has championship pedigree. You know, for a reason, she's solid. Rookie Pauline Astier is also doing great. Yeah, they have a real European flavor too, the Liberty, and we've got to watch out for these Euros and their offense and their shooting, besides the main stars of the Liberty. Yeah, this will be a good test. I want to see if Sandy's got a grudge. I want to see if Sandy's going to bring it and say, you know what? Y'all beat us in New York in the Commissioner's Cup, but we got to get even with y'all. And we got to beat you here in Bell Center in front of the Canadian crowd in Montreal. That's right. I want to see pride for Coach Brondello, her history with this Liberty team. In some ways, this is part of what I haven't seen totally from the tempo is a receipts factor. Kind of like, you know what? We owe them. A Kyle Lowry mentality is saying, look, we got to beat them for Coach because that's Coach's old team. And we want her to look better than her old team, right? So we need that leader in the locker room of the tempo to get people hyped up and really make some stakes for them to really be motivated to get out there and play hard. Right now, I feel like in some ways, the tempo team is in an inaugural mode as an expansion team where they're kind of just having fun. They're eating snacks on their off time. They're enjoying sightseeing. They're having a good time and stuff like that. It's like a pleasure tour. No, this is work. And at some point, we're going to have to switch the switch to competitiveness. And this is work. And we're going in there and we are coming to get people because we owe them because they beat us before. And we're doing this for Coach Sandy because this is her old team. You know, we got to have this mentality to a degree, this Kyle Lowry level of compete. Like we want to kick their ass for this reason kind of stuff. Right now, things are too hunky-dory, too smiley, too friendly, too early. And well, part of the personality of the team's got to get to this. In some ways, I'll give y'all a pass. It's the first year. And in some ways, we're feeling things out. But at some point, I want to see this from y'all, what I just described. Maybe it is there on the down low, and I'm just not recognizing it on the court yet. Is maybe the level of compete is not there to really compete with the other side and really make it like that. But I want to see this. Where's that fire? Where's that Marina Mabry saying, you know what, Coach, I'm going to get this one for you because this is the Liberty and they didn't want you to coach there anymore and you should get some get back and I'll do it for you. That's what I want to see today. Seriously, let's get this kind of energy at Toronto tempo. I want to see this energy. Seriously. That's right. Let's see. Kaloy saying, who would you give a training camp invite so far, Lex? So far, with the team that we've been seeing in 2 games at Summer League, well, obviously Nate Biddle's already coming, so he's already on the list. Out of our guys, I would say, well, Tyreek, because of what he did yesterday, possibly could be a training camp, and it makes sense. Think of him as being like Jared Rhoden, like very much on the edge of possibly making the team, but just barely not, like Jared Rhoden last year in the training camp. So I could see Tyreek getting it extended again because he did get a little bit of something at the end of the season with the regular 10-day contract. And, well, I could see Tyreek possibly being invited to training camp. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, Seth Lundy, if he can put 2 more games together like this one, he might be undeniable in having to invite to training camp. Burnett is not too horrible either, but they may find it's like it's not enough. I don't know. I would definitely like to see Biddle and Sharp there just for the center kind of like battle. It does seem like Jamarian Sharp played at a very energetic level last night. Like he was trying really hard to impress the Raptors. So maybe he does want a spot with us because in some ways his game last night was the best one I think he's had in the Summer League. He played way better for us than he played for the Kings. So, centers is a premium position that we need to figure out better for the Raptors. And Biddle and Sharp are definitely 2 that I'd love to see in training camp. Biddle will be there. Let's see if Jamarian Sharp is there also. So, yeah, that's what I would say is the bigs and maybe Key or Burnett or Lundy is who I'm thinking, Cloy. Yeah. Let's see. Mr. Greg saying Keith even ruined the Argonauts Grey Cup celebration by picking up the Grey Cup like he had something to do with them winning it. That's an unwritten rule that you're not supposed to do that. And Keith Pelly doesn't know the unwritten rules. Man, with this guy, I'm sure I don't even want to, you know what? I'm just going to shut up about Keith Pelly. I'm just going to let Keith Pelly be Keith Pelly. I could go on a whole riff dissing this guy, but I don't think I will. I'll stop. It's not necessary right now. Yeah. Chloe saying, oh man, we have a stupid CEO. Well, you know what? He's probably not stupid in some of the ways that he does his job, but maybe he's just out of touch as a human being in some ways, like with social tact or just kind of understanding things. Sometimes narcissists have blind spots and they don't really realize how stupid they are. Think about the pedophile in charge of the United States right now. Yeah. So there's probably blind spots to what he thinks in this world because of just who he is and how he's been treated. Maybe people have been scared of him for most of his executive life because they worry about him firing them. So he's a little detached from reality because nobody actually talks to him in a real way because they have to talk to him in a certain way to protect their jobs. I think that could be part of it right there. I think that could be part of it. I love that Mr. Greg has the insight because of personal experience. It really does flesh out the whole picture of Keith Pelly, the head of MLSE. I'm like, why is he at all the Raptors events right now? Like, seriously, you said you let basketball people do basketball things. Like, do you really need to be at Summer League, Keith? Really? Do you really need to be there watching these guys? Are you trying to learn on the job? Are you going to try and learn basketball so you can make basketball decisions? Don't fucking come around here, man. Seriously. If you want AI stuff done, we'll let the AI department do stuff with those guys. Those guys. But otherwise, you know what? Just stay away and let Bobby run the team, okay? Okay? You go mess with the Leafs, all right? Go talk to Matt Sundin or something and hang out with them and talk hockey. In some ways, it's like you being around the Raptors too much or around all their events all the time. In some ways, I'm a little skeptical. I'm like, does Keith have to be at this too? Really? Does he really need to be at Summer League? I can understand you being at Summer League because you're at the Board of Governors meeting or something like that with Ed Rogers or something. But do you really need to be there sitting and watching the scouting the young kids and stuff like that? I don't know. I don't want to hear any input from him. Oh, that Jaden Bradley kid, he's so good. I told y'all to draft him. I told y'all. Yeah, thanks, Keith. Thanks for recommending Jaden Bradley. I saw him on the TV during the March Madness, and I liked him. So I told you to draft him, and I made you. Yeah, thanks, Keith. Thanks for commandeering our second round pick and making us draft Jaden Bradley. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I told you he'd be good. Huh? Yeah. Did I ruin your weekend? Maybe it's some shit like that. I don't know. It's kind of fucked up, man. Isaac's saying this. No way. Curmudgeon Keith Freshens for the win. Dunk, Lex. All right. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you for recognizing my impression talent. My talent is kind of goofy. It's hit and miss. Sometimes Lex gets the impression down pretty good. Sometimes he comes up with a funny situation that he can riff on a little bit. That's kind of comic gold. Sometimes, not all the time. But yeah, I'm at 36 on the dunk charts. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, Kaloy saying this. If Lundy's shooting is legit and with that size, he's going to be another gem. I don't know, man. First of all, did you hear Lundy do the interview after the game? Did you hear him? He's not the brightest guy. I'm just going to say that. In some ways, this is the thing that may be holding Seth Lundy up in his life is his intelligence is not that high. And in some ways, we know what we need on our team is really smart dudes. Like we have not just like basketball IQ, but like just IQ in general. He's a jock. He's a guy who's just kind of like, I play basketball. I put it in the hoop and stuff like that. But in some ways, there's a certain level of IQ that isn't exactly there with Lundy that I would think is a Raptor, so to speak. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. The other thing that's a red flag is that he has been in and around the league for 3 years now. He has been around the league for like 3 years. He's not young. He's like 26. So, yeah, Chloe, I don't know, man. I don't calling him another gem. It's very much, it looks like a gym guy who just had a good night and got his shot going last night, but he's a streak shooter is what it looks like to me. It looks like he's going to be kind of like a dude that's hot or cold, and we ride with him, whether he's hot or cold. Speaking of that, Gary Trent Jr. just signed a 4-year deal with the Milwaukee Bucks for like $65 million. I'm actually really impressed that Gary got paid like that and for that length. And I mean, part of it's Giannis left, and they want to kind of shore up things afterwards. I don't know if this is the best investment for Milwaukee, but Gary got his money finally and getting a 4-year deal. That kind of player, in some ways, Lundy is kind of like Gary probably. He's like a hot and cold guy. He's all or nothing. Either he's going to be hitting for you like he did last night, or he's not going to be hitting anything. And that's the thing. You want to invest in that. I don't know. I don't see something with Lundy. I really don't. I really don't. He has to play like that for 3 more games in a row, maybe 2 more games in a row. Can he do this against the Pacers tomorrow? Can he do this against Miami again? Can he repeat this consistently? Then we'll talk about it, Kaloy. Then we'll talk about Lundy and the possibilities with him. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Fiercey saying 129 dunks, and I'm not even a jokester. I'm honored. Well, you can get dunks for being a benevolent person, for being a great contributor. You can get dunks for ingenuity and creativity. There's all kinds of different ways you can get dunks, Fiercey, and you're just getting them a different way. It's like dunk styles. There's some dunkers, they're two-handed dunkers and two-footed dunkers. There's some dunkers, they're one-handed dunkers and like jump off the 1 foot. There's all kinds of different dunkers. And you may not be the comedy styling dunker that Kareem Thomas is, or the benevolent one like Isaac Campbell, but you have your own dunking style. And well, you're getting good grades from the judges this year so far. That's right. That's right. Yeah, Chloe, you saw that interview with Seth? Yeah. I'm like, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. He seems like a nice guy. And I'm glad he had a good game for the Raptors and helped the Raptors beat the Rockets last night. And in some ways, it was cool seeing him in the zone. He really was in the zone. Let's just put it that way. It's sometimes players just get in the zone and they're just hot. And Seth Lundy was that last night for sure. For sure. Let's get into my tabs a little bit here. Let's do the CBL check-in. Last night, there was a game in the CBL, and it was not televised because they had inclement weather out in Edmonton, and they couldn't broadcast on YouTube or CBL Plus or CBC Gem. So the game was not seen by anyone, only the people at the arena. Yeah, because there was no broadcast of this game. Well, it was a blowout win for Vancouver Bandits over Edmonton Stingers, 112-94. Jarkel Joyner is now the captain of the Vancouver Bandits. I love this journey for Jarkel. Jarkel showed up kind of on a whim going to the Bandits, partly because of Tyrese Samuel. Tyrese Samuel, great Canadian from Montreal, who played for 905 last year after getting traded from Valley Suns, was teammates with Jarkel. And Tyrese was going back to Vancouver to play because he played there last year. And he probably said something to Jarkel. He said, hey, man, I play in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. We got a game coming up. He said, what is that, bro? I'm just here training at Gold's Gym at my hometown. You mean there's a league in the summer? Yeah, man. It's Canadian Elite Basketball League. It's really legit, bro. You should come up. I'm there. Jarkel shows up. And he loves it. I sent him a message right before he came. I said, man, you're going to love playing in CBL, Jarkel. You're going to love it. And, well, he listened to Raptors Freak because he's been enjoying the hell out of it. Evan Gilliard may be pissed because he's not being released by Calgary Surge and he can't do what he wants to, and they're talking trash about him, and he's mad. Javon Freeman Liberty may have thrown the ball at the wall and left Montreal Alliance because they were losing too much. I feel like both those teams were losing. So Gilliard and Javon Freeman Liberty were like, fuck this, I'm out, and threw their hands up and just left, cut and run. Well, Jarkel's on a team that's winning, and he's enjoying it. And even though Jarkel Joyner is on a team that has such tumultuous things happen, you got to think about what happened. He showed up, and he was just enjoying himself. He's like a secondary option behind Jalen House, who was the captain of the team at that time. And, Jalen House got in a fight with the fan in Winnipeg, and then he got kicked out of the league after that because he must have done something in that incident that was egregiously wrong because they threw him out of the league. And Carl Julius, his coach, got suspended for the same incident, and he decided not to come back. So now Jarkel has a totally different coach. One of the assistants is the coach. The captain of the team's gone. They even had Mitch Creek, the MVP of the CBL, come back last year, and he got done wrong by Vancouver last year, and they said he may not ever come back, but he did. He came back and played a couple games for them, but he was really there for a hot minute, showed up for a few games and then left, and he was the honorary captain for a while. But now Jarkel is the captain, and he just showed up to the Bandits on a lark in the middle of the season. He wasn't even there at the beginning of the season, and now he's just thriving. He's the leader of the team. It's crazy. So, yeah, but Jarkel only had 13 points last night in the win. Tyrese Samuel had the double-double, 17 points with 13 rebounds. Tevin Brown with 20. Michael Mulder with 25. He was the leading scorer. And then 20 points for Shamar Givants also off the bench. So big time scoring by Vancouver. Edmonton got 21 out of Scotty Lindsay in his game on the other side. But a big win for Vancouver as they continue to be at the top of the Western Conference of the CBL. There's a few games today. If you want to catch CBL action at 3 p.m., when the Tempo are playing, there's actually Montreal Alliance at Niagara River Lions in St. Catharines. So at Meridian Center, if you want to check out afternoon hoops in St. Catherine. Sunday also today at 3:30, it'll be Winnipeg hosting Calgary Surge in Canada Life Center. And then later on, also at 4 p.m., it's Brampton Honey Badgers at Ottawa Blackjacks at the arena at TD Place at 4 p.m. So 3 games on the docket for Canadian Elite Basketball League today. Montreal at Niagara, Calgary at Winnipeg, and Brampton at Ottawa. So if you're in either one of those 3 cities, Winnipeg, St. Catharines, or Ottawa, go check out Canadian Elite Basketball action. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm so proud of Jarkel. It's a very different story than Javon Freeman Liberty and Evan Gilliard II. Both of them kind of had bad experiences with the CBL this year. But yeah, they were bad teams that they've been on. Calgary's really bad this year. Really, really bad. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with Evan Gilliard. He's really pissed off at them, though. He's really pissed off at them. Yeah. All right, let me keep going with my tabs. Y'all, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. Every morning I like to take some vitamins, and there's a great Canadian company to buy vitamins from, and it's Jameson. I don't know if you guys know Jameson, not Battle, but yeah, this is vitamin C by Jameson. This is a Canadian vitamin company, and they provide vitamins all over the world. For more than a century, Jameson Vitamins has helped people support their health with high-quality vitamins, minerals, and natural health products. Founded in Canada in 1922. So you do the math. There's a 104-year-old company. Jameson is one of the country's most trusted vitamin brands and is recognized globally for its commitment to purity, quality, and innovation. Today, Jameson products are sold in 45-plus countries worldwide, supporting the health and wellness of millions. And this is a Canadian company. So if you need any kind of vitamins or supplements, this is the brand name you want right here. Jameson, natural sources since 1922. I like to take my vitamin C with Jameson right here. So there's your straight goods on Canadian goods vitamins. Get your vitamins from Jameson. That's right. There you go. There you go. Let me get a little. All right. Yeah. Chloe's saying, how about Burnett? Do you see him getting an invite? Maybe. He's been solid the first 2 games, but who knows? Who knows? There's so limited spots, right? Your training camp roster is 21 spots, right? So we'll have probably the 18 that are normally on the team, which is the 15 regular roster spots plus the 3 two-ways. And then you have an extra 3 guys that get cut. Now, the Raptors cut 4 guys last year and went down to only running 17 players on the roster when they could have had 18. So we'll have to see how that works out. We'll have to see how that works out. Who knows? Is AJ Lawson going to be invited to training camp also? I would much rather have AJ Lawson than Namari Burnett or Seth Lundy. So if we can revisit and have Lawson come back for training camp and give him a fair shake to try and make the Raptors again this year, I feel like that's the honorable thing to do, especially since AJ showed usefulness in the playoffs against Cleveland. I mean, he did get in the games in the playoffs in the postseason, and he did show usefulness. So, but as I said, I don't know. The signs of AJ being in the fold still, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on with Lawson right now. It's very confusing for sure. All right, let me keep going in the tabs. Happy birthday to Jimmy Oliver. Jimmy Oliver is a former Raptor who played for the Raptors in 1996-97. He played for 1 year on our team, only played 4 games, and averaged almost 3 points per game. So we're going to say a happy birthday to Jimmy Oliver, who's 57 today. Yeah, also a very huge birthday today. Our greatest Canadian basketball player ever is turned 28 today. Happy birthday to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, born in Toronto on July the 12th, 1998. SGA is 28 today. So happy birthday, SGA. I hope you have a fantastic day today, and thank you for leading Team Canada. Thank you for being dedicated to this country and the Olympic team as one of the highest caliber best basketball players in the world. Your commitment and your humility and your dedication is so appreciated, considering a lot of people that would be in your position at your height and esteem may not be like you with the commitment towards the national team. So this is so important. And it's a part of paying it back to people like Rowan Barrett, who showed promise, like in showing you the guidance when you were much younger, and you've never forgotten that, and you're paying it back by coming up and being the best version of yourself and still coming through and being a part of Team Canada's program. So I salute SGA, a real leader for Canada, and man, a real leader in basketball in general. And we are so lucky to have such a devoted and committed top-notch player like him for our Team Canada. I mean, look, he could have sat out this Puerto Rico and Jamaica game that we just played in Hamilton. But no, he didn't, partly because that's his hometown. They wanted to see him, and he helped build that building. But, was the USA team having anybody that were big names for their team show up for this round? No. And in some ways, that says a lot about Gilgeous-Alexander. So happy 28th birthday, Captain Canada, the greatest Canadian basketball player ever in the history. Sorry, Steve Nash. It's just true. We know it's true at this point. That's right. Kaloy's saying this. I hope both Sharp and Biddle continue their good plays. I like having the two centers are two ways. It is nice that in the summer league game last night, we had a center on the court at all times. And it was nice to have the varying looks. And look at that. We even had a 7-foot guy that we didn't even play yet in summer league that's sitting on the bench from Senegal that, we're going to get to see him still in the next couple games. I'm sure we'll maybe see him tomorrow, if not on Thursday against the Heat. So yeah, it's nice to have a true center on the court running out there. And we've seen that like both of them were mobile enough and not slowed down to a point where they're unplayable. Both of them get up and down the court nice. And I like Biddle's 3-point shot is really good. Like it's really good. Him and Graves have very good 3-point shots that should be depended on, that they're going to be making them. They're not fluky 3-point shooters. They really have good shots, and they should be making them consistently. Hopefully that'll get Nate Biddle on the regular Raptors right there. Sharp is a little bit more of a long shot to make the league, even though he's 7'5". There's a lot of issues with Sharp in different ways, but he looked really good yesterday. That's for sure. He really did. Fiercely saying this, Tess, do you see Oshai Abaji? Checking out of my settings are fixed. Yeah, I see Oshai Abaji. You're talking about the auto translate? Yeah, I see that you wrote Oshai. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool to see all different people coming around for Summer League. It's kind of sad to see Grady Dick going to the Clippers games for Summer League. And apparently the Clippers fans were yelling at him at the arena and yelling things about Dick at him. And he was laughing. That's part of it. We've seen the footage of Scotty hugging Brandon. And yeah, there's no hard feelings there. Like I said, it's a business. These guys will always be brothers and family because they bonded over a year of playing together. And that doesn't change. It's just that Scotty has more friends now. He's still friends with Pascal and Fred and OG. He's going to be friends with Brandon and Grady still too. So yeah, it's good to see that hug. And Scotty really is such a loving guy. He went in for the second hug. He went in for the second hug. That's right. Kaloy's saying happy birthday, Canadian GOAT. That's right. This is a fantastic day. The birthday of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. A great day for all Canadians to celebrate. That's right. Happy 28th. That's right. That's right. Kaloy's saying also, if we don't lock them down, other clubs are going to get them, like Carlson last year. You brought up Brendan Carlson. Actually, it wasn't last year. Carlson was 2 years ago, just so you know. Yeah, Carlson was 2 years ago. All right. I'm going to make a comparison between Nate Biddle and Brandon Carlson right now and tell you what the difference is. It's weight. In some ways, it's like Biddle's only 210, but the way he holds his weight is a lot more robust, a lot more strong. Carlson can get pushed around. And that was one of my biggest problems with him was sure, he can shoot threes, but he's not a pivot that can play down low because he holds no weight. He can be pushed around like Wemby could in his rookie year. So that's the difference. Now, I worry about that with Sharp. Sharp can get pushed around, but Biddle's better at holding his ground. If you've noticed, like if you see Biddle when he's playing in these games, he's really leaning into people. Like he really has a weird upper body. His legs are skinny, but he has a pretty chunky shoulder area around his chest, and he leans into people. He uses leverage really well to try and box out and hold people and different ways. And there's a lot more promise in that than anything I saw with Carlson 2 years ago. So that's a big thing right there. I don't want any bigs that are basically small forwards that are 7 foot, because that's the problem. If you want to be a true five, you have to hold space. You have to protect the paint. You have to be able to hold really strong dudes like Steven Adams and Joel Embiid in different ways from doing what they want to do. And you put Brandon Carlson down there, he's like a thin piece of paper that they can just run through. Biddle, though, has some ability to push into people and hold them, and he's not shying away from contact, and I appreciate that about him. So that in some ways is a leg up. That's a thing that'll actually possibly get him on the Raptors. So he checks on that so far from what I've seen. And the shot is pure. The shot is good. And his shot blocking is really good too. Like he's got good timing. And as much as Jamarian's good at blocking shots, so is Nate Biddle. Nate Biddle was getting blocked shots in different places. So, and I like the effort. He's getting after it. Like in some ways, the leadership of Alan Graves on the Summer League team is to hustle and get after it. Well, Nate Biddle's getting after it too. Like I see him getting on the ground and going after loose balls and rolling over people and not being afraid to hustle. And that's a really good sign from a five and a guy with that package. So, yeah, I'm big on Oregon's Nate Biddle. And if he finds a way on our regular roster for this year as a backup big for Jakob, we should be very happy with that. I think that would be good. So it's not really like Carlson in some ways. Yeah, it's the beef. I like the beef on our mullet friend. His hair is unfortunate. Let's just put it that way, and especially at his age. You know, he's one of the younger guys on the Summer League team. Seriously, he's one of the youngest four on the Summer League team. It's like Allen's the youngest. He's 19. Colin Murray-Boyles is the second youngest. And then like Nate Biddle's like fourth. He's like the fourth youngest player on the Summer League team. You wouldn't even know that from his hairstyle and the way he looks, right? You know what I've been kind of calling Nate Biddle? Son of Cain. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about? Son of Cain. Yeah, 7 foot, just like the wrestler Cain, Glenn Jacobs. And he has kind of like a facial feature that looks kind of like Cain. So we could nickname him Son of Cain. I think that would be fun. I mean, maybe when he makes a three, we'll call it the Tombstone 3 or something like that. I don't know. Choke slam. Oh, choke slam. Maybe when he blocks a shot, choke slam by Son of Cain. I love it. The big red machine plays for the Raptor Red. Yeah, that's what I want to see, you know. Glenn Jacobs may be a douchebag in real life, the mayor of that Tennessee town, the former wrestler Cain. But man, this kid, Nate Biddle's looking like Son of Cain. That's right. Undertaker's his uncle. The Undertaker's your uncle, bro. Neil's here. All right, Neil, I got to talk to you, man. He's saying Biddle reminds me of Gasol with his bulkiness. Yeah, you can't. Listen, man. All right, come on now. You know, Gasol's like a Picasso. The way Gasol used to play basketball is not replicated, duplicated. And you can't do this. He reminds you of Gasol. No, he does not. This man does not pass out of the high post like Marc Gasol. No, don't do this, man. In some ways, this is just not fair to Biddle. You're tarnishing the long ass career of Gasol and everything that he did. No, man, you can't do this. It's like comparing a little kid's crayon drawing to Pablo Picasso painting. You can't do this, Neil. No. Number 2 is no center is perfect. We have to develop them. Yeah, I mean, no player is perfect in the league, but centers can have weaknesses that can be exploited by other teams more often than other positions. And that's why you have to be really careful with the centers you get and what they're doing for you. So, yeah, Neil, has Colin played yet? No, he hasn't. So in some ways, in a weird roundabout way, I'm still winning the argument we had a couple of weeks ago about calling Murray-Boyles because you said he's going to play in the summer league. He hadn't played yet. And I say, nah, they probably won't play him. And well, so far he hasn't played. We'll see if it changes. If he does get in against Pacers tomorrow or Miami. But right now, I'm still winning the thing where I said, no, Colin's not going to play at Summer League. But you said he would, and he was on the roster. I said, well, Neil was right, but he hasn't played yet. So I might end up being right still. So it's very interesting, very interesting. Cloy's saying he had some nice dimes too. He had some dimes. I don't really remember him passing around Biddle, but he only had one assist yesterday. So I don't know what you're talking about. He had like one assist. Yeah, one assist. Neil saying this. I didn't say his skills, so there's no disrespect. I'm talking about frame. Yeah, I don't know if even that's true. Mark was very big. He's bigger than him. That's the thing. Biddle's kind of light in some ways. When he comes to the Raptors, and I'm hoping he does, he's going to have to hit the weight room because honestly, he doesn't have any muscle definition on his arms yet, and he does need to bulk up. So that will be the path for Nate Biddle if he does get taken in by the Raptors and becomes a Raptor, like on a two-way or straight contract with the Raptors. He has got to bulk up. He's got to get muscles on his body because he's strong already, but you can look, he has no definition on his arms yet. And he has a path to grow and be bigger. Yeah, I can't see this. He's not as big as Mark. Mark's like 260 pounds. This guy's like 210. So he's got to put at least 50 pounds on there before he's looking like Mark. That's what I would say right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. It's crazy that Gasol was drafted at 46. Yeah, the fanfare around his older brother and everything, people kind of took a waiver on Mark because they're kind of like, well, we know Paul is this and that. And it's kind of funny because both times it was Memphis, they wanted Mark because he started showing up as a little kid when Powell was on the Grizzlies. Powell moved the whole family from Spain to Memphis. And what happened was Mark was still in high school. So Mark was going to high school in Memphis, Tennessee as a Spanish guy. And they saw him kind of around with his brother. And he was an afterthought. He wasn't really like somebody that everybody was making a big deal out of. That's why he was a second round pick. And it's why it was Grizzlies that took him because the Grizzlies took his brother. And that's how the Gasol family ended up in the United States. And it really is their home base in the U.S. is Memphis. The whole family, although Powell, he went off to Lakers and other teams and played for them. But yeah, they had an inside pipeline on him, and they probably saved that second round pick because they knew Pau Gasol's little brother was going to be good, right? Right? Because he went to high school in Memphis. Mark Gasol, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, yeah. Neil's saying this: CMB is injured, which is worse because I'd rather him healthy. I don't know how her injury is really. In some ways, like that's the risk reward of playing in summer league is like, this is going to be a rotation player for the Raptors this year. This is an important player. This is a player that we need healthy for the season. And in some ways, we don't really need to experiment with him or learn about him in summer league. Evo wanted to do playmaking stuff with him, but he's not healthy enough to play, or he's probably healthy enough to play, but they're precautionary. And they're like, no, we're not going to play him. We're just going to eye on the side of like being safe because it's not necessary to play him at Summer League. It really isn't. We know who Colin Murray-Boyles is. We know what he does. Some of the experimental stuff that Evo wanted to do with him, yeah, that'd be fun to see. But which would you rather do? Would you rather have the risk or just leave him out? That's what I'm saying. Leave him out, Medved's here. Seth Lundy was on fire. I can't believe he's 26. Well, he's a 2-year pro already in the NBA, guys. That's the thing. He's not a rookie. He's not a new guy. He's been on a couple teams already, and he didn't stick. He's got like 9 games with the Hawks, and that's always kind of like it's that position where you're one of these dudes that are on the cusp of the league, and you're just trying to make the league. He, in some ways, has the most NBA experience out of everybody on our summer league team right now. So think Justice Winslow. Think, different people that we've had come through our team in recent years. David Roddy. He's in that kind of position in his hierarchy of the NBA. He's probably not even as good as David Roddy in his position because Roddy, well, he got to the Nuggets by the end of the year on a two-way. But yeah, I see him as a streak shooter, and well, we got him on a good streak last night. But it cold very well be he's cold for the rest of the summer league. And is that really a kind of player we want around our team? I know it looks like, wow, he's a great three-point shooter, and that's what we need for our team. And that may very well be true. But Bobby's watching him, all the coaches are watching him, and they'll decide what they think is real or authentic and whether it's dependable. Because I don't know if Seth Lundy's dependable. It may just be he had a really good night last night, is what I'm saying right now. That's right. Maybe that he just had a really good night last night. He was feeling it. That's right. Good to see you, Medved Ted. And thanks for supporting the channel. And thank you, Neil, also, and Reggie. All y'all, Thiersey, also. Let's see. Neil saying this. All them rookies need to hit the weight room. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even Colin can build more on top of him. He's already strong as hell, and he can get even stronger like Scotty. Scotty's gotten progressively stronger every year. And in fact, Scotty's goal is to get even stronger for next year. That's what he's been saying is like, my goal for next year is to play with the energy that I played on defense and offense all out for the whole 48 minutes. So he's always working on conditioning and strength. Colin needs to too. And yeah, Island Graves, welcome to the weight room for the Raptors. Let's see how you bulk up too. Yeah, we're going to see how he bulks up. That's right. Reggie's saying this. There's chatter that the NBA might investigate the Gary Trent Jr. contract. Why? Why do they want to mess with poor Gary? Why? They're like investigating because they think it's so ridiculous that the Milwaukee Bucks would do that. John Horst and his front office are horrible. I don't question this. This is just Milwaukee Bucks making their normal kind of bad decisions. I love Gary. Don't get me wrong. But this is a crazy contract to give him. Let's just put it that way. This is a crazy, crazy contract. Neil's saying it's a finger injury for Colin. Yeah, hold him out. I mean, I don't agree with playing him at Summer League. You're more likely to cause harm than good, is what I think. You know, he'll play in the gym. He'll go into the ballroom. He'll practice with the vets. He'll practice in there and behind the scenes. He doesn't necessarily have to be out there on the floor in the Thomas and Mack Center or Cox Pavilion. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Kaloy's saying when Biddle gets that NBA money, he can get those implants for that hair. Good luck, young man, son of Cain. I love it. Maybe the bald spot is because where the fire burned his head in the horrible flat family tragedy of the Cain family. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Either way, maybe he doesn't care. I was telling Adriana last night, you know, he probably doesn't deal with anybody who cares about that because he's so freaking tall. Nobody sees the bald spot in his regular life walking around. It's just when he's on TV playing basketball with the camera angle is shooting down where you can see it. But if you saw him on the street, you probably wouldn't even know he has a bald spot because he's 7 feet tall. Either way, just like Scotty got his teeth fixed after his rookie year, I'm sure Nate Biddle will figure something out. I say just go like me, bro. Shave it all off. Seriously. But if you really want to do this mullet thing, maybe there's some sort of weird comb over you can do. Like grow the mullet out real far in the back and bring it right on up and over. Yeah, there you go. That one always works. Yeah, do some Donald Trump shit or something like that. Yeah, that's what he does, right? Comb over. I don't want to make fun of him too much. I mean, as a bald man myself who has thinning hair and a bald spot in the top of my head, I'm one to talk. Maybe I have license to do this because of that. But either way, Nate Biddle, we love you, man. Keep making threes and keep playing hard and hit the weight room. And you can be a Raptor, my guy. That's what we want. That's what we want right there. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Reggie's saying this. After being on a minimum deals for 2 years and outperforming and performing at a low level, it raises eyebrows. Well, let's think about this. Could it be that the Bucks, much like the Rockets a couple years ago with Fred, have to fill in their cap sheet to get to a certain minimum? And in some ways, they're looking at Gary for services rendered so far and maybe felt like they've underpaid him and they're trying to make up for it with this contract. And, you know, like I said, there's a certain level of spending that they have to do. And Giannis is off the books for them. So maybe there's extra money all of a sudden that the Bucks have to fill in and Gary is getting the reward for it. So I think that that may be what it is right there. Is that, that's a big chunk of your salary in Giannis, and I know they brought people back, but did the money match up with Hero and the package they got coming the other way with what they were paying Giannis? Maybe there's extra money out there, and maybe they feel like Gary got paid dirt for what he was doing, and they feel bad, and they're like, you know what, we would actually wanted to pay you like 4 or 5 million a year, so we'll make up for it here. Either way, it's the Bucks front office. Let them be horrible. Seriously, I'm not worried about this. In some ways, go on, Gary, get your money. You and Senior are awesome. We love you guys. You're legacy Raptors. Go on and get your money. If Gary Trent Sr. is happy and he's parallel parking over 4 parking spots in a parking lot in Milwaukee with Grayson and Garrison and all the little brothers, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Trent family, do your thing. Listen, listen, they're a family that knows how to get money one way or another. Trust me. they're a family that knows that. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Neil's saying this risk exists at all the time. Opportunity can pass you by. That's what I'm saying. That's why you got to gauge whether you need the opportunity to ingratiate yourself for things. And that's why I'm talking to Elijah Martin. That's why I'm talking to Elijah Martin. Forget about Colin. Colin's set. Colin's a borderline starter almost. He's not a starter yet, but he's a borderline starter. And he's in the rotation next year. Colin's got things set for next year already. He doesn't have to do anything this summer to prove what he's got to do and what he's going to get in regular season. Elijah has a lot to prove right now to try and get carved out some sort of thing and ingratiate himself to possibly be in the rotation for the Toronto Raptors. So in some ways, he needs to be in these games way more than Colin. So if he's just sitting over there in street clothes with Colin and thinking he can get away with that, no, bro. No, this is the opportunity slipping him by that Neil's talking about. That's right. Stargate's here. Good morning to Stargate. Colin, probably a little tweak, and the medical staff says it's not worth it getting worse by playing, so they're keeping him out, and rightly so. Yeah. And I have no problem with this. And I'm sure Colin doesn't either in some ways. It's like, he probably wants to get out there and play and compete, try out the chemistry with Alan Graves. But like I said, man, this dude's already set up, but Elijah is not. And Elijah man, don't be wasting your life, bro, and be thinking you're like, I don't need to play Summer League. I did Summer League last year. No, you need to play Summer League, Elijah Martin. Trust me, you need to get your fucking ass out there and start playing. Yeah. Neil's saying it's not the same finger, by the way. Well, Colin is such a aggressive, strong player. When he attacks the rim, he's hurting himself sometimes by the way he's hitting the rim. It could very well be like Scott a couple years ago. Remember, Scotty had both fingers kind of messed up, and it messed up his shot. I think Scotty learned how to dunk in better ways to protect himself. And this is a learning curve for some young basketball players. It's like, sure, it's great to make it look really vicious and very thunderous and very like hard hitting with the dunk. But you are also hurting yourself if you're hitting your finger on the rim a certain way and hurting it that way. So in some ways, maybe there's some training and some going over with the coaches about how to protect himself better on hammer dunks or dunks that he's going to do so that he's not hurting his finger and tweaking his finger, because this is why this is happening. It could also be happening in indirect contact with opposing players, like getting bent back, trying to move around and stuff like that. But to me, it's most likely he's hurting his hand from dunking, and he just needs to adjust. Scotty was doing the same thing a couple years ago and messed up his fingers. But I think he learned, I don't want this injury all the time. I'm going to dunk better in certain ways. There's a certain way to drop it in without hitting your hand on the rim. You can do that with control. In some ways, we can see with Colin, he's throwing it down very hard when he throws it down. And that may need to change slightly, is what I'm saying right there. That may need to change right there. Yeah. Elijah's injury is more detrimental. Yeah, well, still, I mean, this is the summertime. It's Summer League. You should be out there, bro. It hurt Grady that he didn't play in Summer League. And it might hurt you, whether you're hurt or not. That's right. Stargate saying, I have one word for Biddle: turkey. Turkey? What, the country? No, man. I was thinking about it. Maybe I don't like Jaden Bradley because he's wearing number 8. And Mr. Turkey used to wear number 8. And I'm kind of like, he's bringing me back bad memories of Malachi And I'm like, fuck, man, why are you wearing number 8, bro? I mean, Allen's wearing number 22, but he's not making me think about Malachi like you are for some reason. That stink of that 8 number on the jersey and what Malachi Flynn did wasting our time for a long time. Maybe that's why I have points against Jaden Bradley already because he's wearing Malachi's number 8. Ugh, Mr. Turkey. Mr. Turkey. What do you mean, Biddle Turkey? Turkey? What are you talking about? Neil's saying this. Believe me when I say you are safer on a two-way than on a minimum contract. Minimum contracts can be used as a filler for big trades. Yeah. Yeah, we kind of talked about this the other day, didn't we, Neil? I think that's true. I think that's true in some ways because in some ways the two-way is more versatile too because you really do have the ability to jump between the leagues. And, you can do that still with Elijah because he's a second-year player. He's still eligible, even if he's not a two-way. He needs to go to 905 too. Because honestly, I'm going to say this right now. There may not be minutes for him on the Raptors. He may not be anywhere near the rotation. They probably have 10 guys that they want to play ahead of him. And he may not. You want to sit on the bench for the Raptors all year because you're too good for 905 and you say, I'm above it. Well, you're not going to play anywhere. You're going to be in basketball purgatory in between both, and you won't be in on either one. So it's like that's the catch-22 right there. You can think you're hot shit and you don't belong in G League, but G League is there to keep you surviving in the league, and it's like a life preserver. You're drowning out in the sea. You need to stay above afloat. Well, you grab that life preserver, and that's called the G League in 905, just to stay head above water and still in the picture in the NBA. That's what I say on this. So, it doesn't take just 1 year to get over the hump, Elijah Martin. You may be like, I learned this business is hard. And it's like, I shouldn't have been in two-way or just in the G League. I should have been a full-fledged player. Don't think just because you got this contract that you are just a full-fledged player. And the Raptors can promise you this and that, but that shit can all be taken away like that too. So be careful, man. And Neil's right. Trade filler, real easy with a contract like that. Trade filler. Oh, yeah. He's exactly right when he says that. He's exactly right when he says that. Isaac's saying we're trying to take candy from a baby. That's the whole saying now. We're stealing candy from a baby. First of all, is that hard to do, Scott? Like, seriously, you should be saying like stuff like, I'm trying to steal the raw chicken from the alligator's mouth. The candy from a baby's easy. You can go run up and just take candy from a baby at the mall and they'll cry and their parents will look at you and be pissed at you. I've done it. Yeah, here, taking the candy from a baby. Why'd you do that to my son? Because it's a saying. Haven't you ever heard of it? Scotty Barnes said it at Summer League. I'm just taking candy from a baby. You're a horrible person. How could you take candy from a baby? No, you know what's harder? Taking raw chicken from an alligator. That's right. And that's what it's more like, stealing the ball in the NBA. You're stealing raw chicken out of the mouth of an alligator. That's right. That's what Chucky Hepburn's doing. Getting his hands in there with his stealing hands, stealing the ball from people. That's right. Getting the raw chicken from the alligator. That's what I want to say instead, Isaac, because I feel like stealing candy from babies too easy. I know for sure myself. That's right. That's right. It's too easy, Scotty. You're taking raw chicken from the alligator. That's right. Medved Ted saying this. Elijah hasn't proven anything. His roster spot isn't secure. Yeah, apparently this year is guaranteed, but next year ain't guaranteed shit. Mm-mm. And listen, you should have the attitude of Jonathan Mobo. Jonathan Mobo is just all the glory to God. Whatever God puts in front of me for basketball, I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to question it because I need to be on my path. And I would love to go to 905 and play as much as I can. And, well, he's on the Kings this year, but he's still in the league. And that's the thing. You got to take every opportunity, even if you think it might be below you, Elijah. Seriously, you got to take every opportunity. And playing at 905 is a life preserver to keep you in the picture. Seriously, it is totally. And I agree with Medved Ted. We watched him all year last year. Medved Ted and I were in the 905 games all the time, and we saw the level of player he is in that way. But in some ways, I got to say this again. The dude is not an NBA player by his stature. He has to be so good. He has to be so exemplary to make this league at his height and what he's doing. And in some ways, he needs to prove it more and more. He hasn't proved jack shit, just like Medved Ted has said. Seriously, he can be a G League up next player, all-star. He can get these accolades and be one of the best G League players last year. But man, it has not translated to the NBA court yet. We have not seen you do jack shit. It took you almost the whole year to score in the first game that you scored in the NBA. And even then, how many points did you get in the NBA this year, Elijah Martin? Like 6 points? You scored like 6 points this year or something. You didn't score a whole lot in this year. I don't know how many he scored exactly. Maybe go look. I'm going to fact check myself real quick. How many points did Elijah Martin score in the actual NBA? Not in the G League, in the NBA. Let's see. Because he didn't get a lot of appearances. He was in 23 games. So he scored 51 points. So he got 51 points in 23 games. Yeah, that's tough. He averaged 2 points a game. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's a little bit more than I thought, but still, that's not an off and running rookie year. That's not right there. That's right. Kaloy saying Malachi was even better than Bradley at the summer league point. Oof. Bradley needs to snap out of it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. In some ways, I'm getting the feeling that people are freezing him out a little bit. You know, this is one of the things about the dynamic of the summer league roster with the 905 guys. Those guys are more likely to cater to Chucky and to Elijah if he was playing because of time served with each other from last year in Mississauga. That's a real card up the sleeve for Chucky Hepburn, having Tyson Degenhart, Tyreek Key, and AJ Hogarth there on the roster with them because there's familiarity and they can work with each other. Could it be in some ways that some people are kind of doing things a certain way with not helping Jaden Bradley because they're helping somebody else because they want them to have a leg up in the positional chart of the Raptors? Could be. That could be part of it. You know, people freezing people out can happen. It's to the credit of Jaden Bradley. But I don't know if that's it. In some ways, if he's such a great player, he should be able to go and take shit for himself and show who he is. In some ways, we don't need no timid Timapuyi going on with you, Jaden Bradley. This is summer league. This is the easiest it's going to get. And if you can't do jack shit at this level, you're fucked for the NBA. In fact, I would be worried for you in the G League if you can't fucking play in the summer league. Seriously, you know, get that brass ring. Realize you only live once. And if you don't do shit the way you're supposed to, well, you find a door and a quick exit from the league. This is extremely competitive league. Don't waste your life, is what I'm saying to Jaden Bradley right now. That's right. Stargate saying Turkey is famous for hair transplants and shit like that. A lot of people go there for those things. Okay, well, I'm glad you elaborated on your what you were saying because I don't make that connection any kind of way. No way whatsoever. When you said Turkey, it made me think Malachi Flynn. It made me think about him being Mr. Turkey and becoming a Turkish citizen and playing for Team Turkey now, and how Malachi is just thriving in the country of Turkey. So if you say Turkey right now, it makes me think Malachi Flynn immediately. Not hair transplants. No, Cy Sperling from Turkey. Is that what's going on here? I'm not only the president, I'm a client myself. That's right. Neil saying this, two ways are not tradable, but they don't affect the salary cap either. Yeah, that's in some ways to keep you on with the teams in development and coming up. That's it right there. Yeah. G saying this, Liberty get a lot of benefit of doubt calls, expect lots of free throws their way. Sabrina is back to scoring, so this will be a tough game, but still winnable. Try and get JJ in foul trouble is key. I like that idea. Yeah, John Kell Jones needs to sit, need to go at her. Isabel Harrison, try and take your offense to her if you can. Some of y'all that go and drive in the lane, you know, Marina Mabry's talked a lot about recently on Sue Bird podcast with Brittany Sykes about her mid-range and opening that up more. And like, you know, in practice one day, Brittany was talking to Marina and saying, you know, your mid-range is really good. You need to be using this more. Like you going in there and doing your little drive and then turnaround shot is working. And like, you should be doing this more. So Marina is making a concentrated effort to do midi stuff more in games. If you notice, she'll drive off of the 3-point line and go to the basket, either straight to the basket or stop and pop mid-range. So yeah, we want to see that. If she's going in like that, she could possibly get Jones a foul or two by going in that way. Of course, we need the refs to respect us in the first place and give us some calls, especially our Euro players. They don't get any calls. Laura and Maria, they don't get calls. They don't get calls. They're getting no respect from this league at all as European players on the Canadian team. They're really not getting any respect right now. But yeah, these are great keys to victory, G. Let's get Jonkel Jones in foul trouble. Let's keep track of Ionescu, and let's not let her get open looks. That's right. Medved Ted saying Chucky as a third string point guard is probably more valuable to us than Elijah, in my opinion. I agree. I completely agree because he plays his position correctly. And he's a true floor general. And he really does have that Raptor spirit. You know, the word Raptor literally means to seize. That's what the word means. Our name of our team is Steel. So it makes sense that we're the hands team now because, you know, Chucky is a great Raptor because he seizes the ball from people. In fact, we saw that when he was healthy last year at 905 in the first half of the season, just how much he could just take the ball from people from times. He just, you know, we started doing the whole thing with Jason noise. You know, Jason noise. Chucky's coming. Chucky's gonna get you. You know, because he's scary. He's like a horror show. He's like the little doll. Because Chucky will sneak up and just take the ball from you as a ball handler. You got to watch out for Chucky. Chucky's very sneaky and he will steal the ball. He is a Raptor. He will seize the ball. Yeah, I agree with this, Medvedev. I find way more value in Hepburn and investing in him for the long term. I really do. Neil saying this guaranteed money means nothing to front office when it's just 2 to 3 million. That's toilet paper money to them. And there's some truth in what he's saying there too. There really is. But the interesting thing, and Grange's article that's out this morning is saying because of the cap strap situation for the Raptors right now, they really do need these lower contracts on Hepburn and Martin to flesh out a full roster, to have enough bodies in all the spots because the money is just not there. So Chucky on the cheap, Elijah on the cheap. This helps make sure we have at least 17 players. And that's it right there. And Chucky could be very useful this year. In fact, I think that Chucky in particular is chomping at the bit because he sat so long this past year, and he's seen his life going by him. So he has a lot of motivation. Think about Brandon Ingram sitting out and how much he really wanted to come back and prove some things. Hepburn's got that right now. He's got that right now. And his shot's not falling right now, but it will come back around. And once again, I do want to see him playing for Coach Noah in 905. That's his show to run and really hone and show that he is a true point guard and that he is developing and running as a team captain and also keeping that team winning as a leader. That's the stuff I want to see from Chucky this year. Some of it is stuff I want to see from last year, but it got abruptly taken away when he got hurt. So yeah, Medved Ted knows who he's talking about because I know because he watched a lot of 905 games with me last year in the chat on YouTube with Blake Murphy and Monique. That's right. Medved Ted's a regular at 905. Neil's saying this. Oh yeah, I already read that. Isaac's saying 3 turnovers in 8 minutes is crazy. That would be like 15 turnovers in a full game. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing for bigs to get foul trouble like immediately, like Tiani Key or Christian Coloco or something like that. But to get like turnovers consecutively really fast as a guard, that is a really bad no-no. Fouls are one thing, but getting a lot of turnovers really fast in a short period of time as a guard, as a point guard, as a guy who's supposed to be really taking the ball sacred and protecting it, this is a bad thing right there. That's right. Stargate saying this, Lex, rumor has it that it was the ownership of New York, Cleveland, and Philadelphia who were the whiners who complained to the league about Kawhi in the aspiration situation. So you're right about that. I just did a Winders and said, you know what? This sounds like Dolan. This sounds like Dolan to me. I mean, that man's so petty. He would sue us with Azotam, who, by the way, is on the Summer League bench. If you guys noticed, Isaac Azotam, the guy who was in the middle of the scandal with New York and the lawsuit, Ike Azotam is sitting on the bench with Coach Evo and the rest of them. He's one of their coaches. He's sitting there right there at every Summer League game. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. So you heard from somewhere else that my predictions or my thinking is actually seeing some credibility because you're hearing that some people are saying this. This is interesting. This makes sense. It just makes complete sense. Somebody cried wolf or cried foul from the Eastern Conference about the Kawhi deal, and they're trying to mess it up somehow, some way. Even the announcers are so stupid at Summer League. They're saying, and the Kawhi deal, which is on hold, if it does happen, okay, go ahead and say that shit, whatever. In some ways, we're confident that it's going to work out, whatever is going to work out, and it'll work out for the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard's coming to Toronto. Oh, yeah. Adam Silver's going to make sure it happens. That's right. That's right. Neil's saying this front office is not looking at Elijah's points. They're looking at how disruptive he is on the defensive end. Same goes for Shed. Raptors can build upon their disruption. Okay. I mean, that's true. Elijah has shown some pretty good defensive kind of chops, but he's also a liability on defense with taller guards that just shoot over him. That's what I'll say also. I mean, look, Elijah's an offensive player. He's not totally a defensive player. He's an offensive player. He has to score. He has to hit threes. He has to get in there and hope he can get dunks. He goes in the land of giants and he tries to make crazy shots over much taller players, and he has some success to a degree. But man, I'm just saying, once again, my whole thing with him this whole time is his build, his player type, the way he plays is not easy to make the NBA. It's just not easy to do it. And in some ways, he has to overcome so much shit and has to be so good. He has to do Fred VanVleet kind of shit. And I don't know if he's got it. I really don't. And I hate saying that. I know that some people are very big fans of him. Like I know Monique loves Elijah Martin and she disagrees with me. She doesn't think this negative stuff about him like I do. I just want him to prove me wrong. In some ways, he's one of those players like Jaden Bradley that I don't think have a future with this team. And well, prove me wrong. Because you know what? I'll say I said the same thing about Fred 10 years ago. When I saw Fred show up to the team, I said, this guy's not good enough to be in the league. Well, Fred proved me wrong. Fred did the ultimate thing and did it. This is the only way I do this with these kind of players. If I don't think you're going to make it, well, prove me wrong. If you don't like what I'm saying, Elijah Martin, you don't like what I'm saying, Jaden Bradley, prove me the fuck wrong. And I'll be so happy to be wrong. Seriously, because that's what it did with Fred. When Fred VanVleet showed up, I was like, man, this guy's not going to make the team. And boy, was I wrong about Fred. That's what I'm saying. So in some ways, I'm doing this Jedi mind trick of trying to motivate them by saying, you're not good enough, Elijah. You're not good enough. Okay, go prove a Raptors freak wrong. Go prove me wrong. Seriously. In some ways, this is good. I want you to. Seriously, that's right. That's right. Let's see. Yeah, they're scared. They're scared of the Raptors, the Eastern Conference. For sure. They can see this combo. We're already not fun to play. You just add Kawhi to it, man, that's an ace in the hole. That's an ace of spades. That's a big card that'll win the hand right there. Because we know Kawhi's power at the end of the games. We know Kawhi's defensive stature. And just adding more of that to the Raptors, that's a nightmare for these teams that are whining and crying about this deal. For sure. For sure. Yeah, Kaloy's saying, laughing my ass off. Lex is having PTSD with memories of Malachi. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as post-traumatic stress disorder. It's just kind of more me being like, yeah, I don't really prefer having this kind of energy on the team again. And Malachi was such a waste of time. And we invested so much time in him, which pisses me off. Because honestly, I really do blame that bad section of the Raptors history on Malachi because he was in such a key position like Jamal Shed as the backup point guard. And the backup point guard in the history of the NBA is one of the most important positions on the team on the down low. It's not one of the starters. It's somebody who comes in when the starters are out that maintains quality control and keeps everybody involved. And either you're good at that and you're a good backup point guard or you're not, like Malachi Flynn. Jamal Shed does a good job. He's a good backup point guard. He was a better backup point guard in the first game he played for the Raptors than Malachi Flynn was in the last game he played for the Raptors. And that's all that time wasted waiting for him to come around and wake his ass up to either score for himself, which he's more likely to do. That's his proclivity because he's not a true point guard. That motherfucker could not get his players around him on his team to play better around him. That was the biggest failing. And honestly, that's part of the reason why Tampa was so bad. That's part of the reason why those years in that middle part were so bad because we had no bench, because we had no bench leader and nobody leading things. And Shed does that for us right now. And that's part of the reason why I don't want to graduate Shed to the starters either, is because Shed is good as the backup point guard because he's quality control for that unit. And he's not better than IQ. He's not. He's not. Yeah. Neil's saying it's not the Malachi number. It's the vibe that is the problem. Bradley needs to lean into the experience right now. He looks like a fish out of water. Yeah, I think he looks shook. I think he looks like everything's kind of happening too fast, and he just doesn't belong. Like, seriously, I don't know what it is. His body's not that impressive to me. He looks like little, and he's not showing any kind of presence. He should be really aggressive and angry and trying to do crazy shit, you know? In some ways, I would say the same thing to him as I would say to Timapui today playing against the Liberty. It's like, don't waste your life. Go out there and show your skills. Show us what you are. Because if you don't, you may not get another chance. You may not get another chance. No, that 8 is problematic. Seriously, Blackhawk. That 8 is problematic for me. If you're a big, maybe you can get away with wearing 8, and I won't think about Malachi. But wearing it as a guard, you're making me think of Flynn. That's right. You're making me think of Flynn. Stargate saying this. In my opinion, the only player that can possibly get shed some internal competition is Chucky. Yeah, I agree with this. That the only one he should be a little worried about. And even then, I wouldn't worry about it because it's good to have depth. And Shed was arguing for Chucky in the footage from the Summer League game on Friday with the refs. And he was showing a lot of proud kind of Papa kind of vibes towards Chucky. Man, Chucky's playing so good out there, talking to Scotty, sitting on the sideline. And that footage of them cheering on Chuck was pretty cool. You know, those guys were very supportive of the Summer League team, the vets sitting on courtside for the game on Friday night. I don't think they were there last night, though. It's like y'all lost in overtime the first game. We're not coming back. Maybe some of them were there. I couldn't really tell. I couldn't really tell where they were. But yeah, maybe they weren't there. Yeah. Let's see. Neil's saying we can't blame Bradley's experience on Toronto either because they are in Vegas. So it's not geography. It's about adjusting to the NBA. You know, I don't know what's going on. In some ways, it's like 2 dud games. We'll just have to see. In some ways, you want to make a good first impression. He's still got some runway. Obviously, he's going to have some time. Maybe we'll see some redeeming qualities in him in the third game tomorrow against the Pacers. Tomorrow's game is at 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m., I think. And yeah, I'll be watching it during the day, and we'll do a reaction to the Tempo game tomorrow. And I'll preview that Summer League game, the third one against the Indiana Pacers tomorrow, Monday afternoon. Yeah, that's coming up tomorrow. Neil's saying Chucky definitely gives Shed competition at the point guard spot, but they all, Martin Bradley, in the same boat as guard. That's what I'm saying. If you want me to say who I'd rather keep out of those 3, Martin, Bradley, and Hepburn, well, I think you can tell who I want to keep. It's Chucky. It's Chucky. Even though he was hurt half the season last year, there's just certain things about him that are so useful, and he doesn't even need to score to be useful. That's the other part of why he's so useful. Some of those other guys need to score to be useful, you know? Let's see. Stargate saying kind of like me and Con Knipple. I was so wrong about him. Now I'm a fan. There you go. There you go. Yeah, Con, we did kind of diss Con. We were calling him Jeff Hornacek and all this kind of stuff. But honestly, in some ways, I respect Con more than I respect Cooper Flagg, because he really is fundamentally really good. Really, really good. Con Knipple had a huge impact on the Charlotte Hornets to the point where they traded their old leaders this summer, and they're building around him now. So that says a lot right there. That says a lot right there. Yeah, I'm a fan too. I think Con Knipple is an ethical basketball player that I can respect, is what I'll say. Medved Ted saying, any news on when they could come out with a decision on Kawhi and the Clippers investigation? I'm speculating, like Michael Grange, that the Board of Governors meeting on Tuesday in 2 days is going to be the pivotal moment where they decide all this. When they get all the owners in the same room in Vegas for their annual Board of Governors meeting, this will probably be on the docket, and this will be decided by the peers of Steve Ballmer, the other owners of the league, and they have to figure out what is the just punishment for the Clippers for their wrongdoing so that it can discourage any of them else from doing it again. That's the thing. In some ways, that's where it's going to be decided. I'm going to guess, Medved Ted. It'll be Tuesday. So hopefully we'll have stuff figured out. And by the end of this week coming up, Kawhi will officially be traded to us. So hopefully we'll see. That's speculation, but it's good speculation based on critical thinking and hard facts. And the Board of Governors meeting is Tuesday. And I'll bet you this is something they're going to deal with, because that's the best place to deal with it. Let the other owners and the people that are representing all of the NBA teams come in and have a vote and talk about exactly how they're going to punish the Clippers. Yeah. Notice I'm saying the Clippers. In some ways, it's not necessarily about punishing Kawhi. It's about punishing the Clippers and Steve Ballmer, because they made this mess. Honestly, they made this mess. Neil's saying this. I don't blame Malachi. It's on front office to do their job, create competition for the role, and Game of Thrones this bitch. Well, we want to also remember that when we drafted Malachi, it was in the very shortened season, off season. We had a month off season after playing the playoffs in August and September into the fall. And then we turned around and started the season around Christmas to make up for the pandemic. And so when we drafted Malachi, that was a hasty decision. We didn't have our proper time in the offseason. We basically went from the bubble and losing to the Celtics in that 7-game series and then losing Mark and Serge because we were in the Giannis sweepstakes. We were more concentrating on that than anything at that time. And the draft was an afterthought. And then we drafted Malachi in a very short offseason. So it could very well be the Raptors didn't do their regular offseason work to suss out the draft pick, because that's very likely, because everything that happened around that time was very fast and confusing. And we also have to remember, we were also scrambling to probably play in Tampa. That was another part of the whole thing right there. Kaloy saying Hepburn, Martin has that chip on their shoulders. It looks like they don't shy away from the moment. Yeah, I like that. Well, Elijah's got a chip on his shoulder. He has a lot he wants to prove to other people. That's why I don't agree with him sitting out. If he is that hurt and he has to sit out, okay. But honestly, if I were you and you're just slightly hurt and you could be out there, you probably should be out there. But maybe he's thinking, man, I got to save myself for the season, just like Colin. Man, you haven't earned shit. You need to get out there. I'm telling him, you're not like Colin. Seriously, you can't be thinking yourself like Colin, right? Neil's saying this. It doesn't matter if you're 6 feet or 7 feet. You have to show us who you are with effort. You control that. Yeah. And thank you, Nate Biddle, for getting on the floor as a 7-footer and getting after the ball. Seriously, we see this. We see what you're doing, Chucky. We see what you're doing, Tyson Degenhart, taking hits and licks, Tyreek Key. Yeah, we see this kind of dog stuff. We see it, and we value it, and we keep it around. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying if Chucky can get his offense together, he can. He can see him. I can see him possibly as an Andrew Nebhart type. That's not. I don't see that. Nebhart's a different kind of player. He's more finesse and more not as contact. He's really quick to the spot and getting his shot from people. Chucky's more grinded out and a little more physical. So I don't really see the comparison between the two of them, and I don't see him ever getting the level of Andrew Nebhart. That's a little bit too lofty. A little bit too lofty. You might want to just aim for the possibility that Chucky Hepburn is a backup point guard in the NBA at some point. Because right now he's a third guard. Kaloy's saying this. Bradley is supposed to be like that, being a Big 12 player of the year. Let's see if he gets over his yips. Yeah, because if Monique was saying the other day in a text message to me that she felt like Graves had jitters. I'm like, I don't see jitters in Allen Graves. I see jitters in Jaden Bradley. Like he's having jitters right now. That's right. And Neil's saying go by last year's numbers for Chucky when he shakes off the rust. Well, Chucky didn't get a whole lot of time in the NBA, so he didn't really get a whole lot on the big level. We'll have to see. These games are good for Chucky getting back to normal. Yeah, he's got to get his rhythm back with this shot. All right, let me start taking care of the rest of my tabs. Let's do the human design part real quick. It is the 6th line of gate 53 today, the gate of beginnings. And well, the last line is completion. It's phasing. And basically, this is about the whole process of starting things and then seeing them through to completion. That's the theme for the last week. And well, the last line, the 6th line, is completion, is finishing the project. And well, the exhalation or the detriment is a tendency in this position to hide success and the perverse fear that the success will either create excessive demands or supporters of the original process will end their support upon completion. The pressure to hide beginnings and fear of losing past support. That's an interesting idea, that you don't want to show that you finished something because you're worried about losing people that support you. That's weird. The exhalation, though, is the successful utilization of the completion of a stage in development that by its evident success and value can be used as an example to attract support for the next stage. The energy to attract support for beginnings based on the success of the past. So yeah, today is really a big part of like phasing from one stage to the next stage. Like you started something, you did that part of the project, you finished that part, and now you're transitioning to the next stage of the project. So that's the theme for today in human design. If you feel these elements in your life somehow, subliminally or just inherently in your life all of a sudden, well, this is part of the planetary energy that's out there right now with gate 53, line 6. Tomorrow we'll be starting a new gate, and that will be gate 62. And gate 62 is up in the throat area. And we'll be talking about gate 62 tomorrow, gate 62, line 1. So, yeah, thank you for letting me indulge in a little bit of a human design lesson for a second. Yeah, the beginnings to ends. And now we have ended the process of the gate that just finished. And now it's, beginnings and ends is what it's all about right there. All right. We did the birthdays already. Let me just see if there's breaking news. I see this morning that somebody has passed away. And well, I don't even want to talk about it. So I won't. But yeah, somebody passed away last night. And in some ways, a lot of people are not that upset about it. They are not upset about it in some ways. So let's see. That's already something we already talked about. We don't need to talk about that. All right, so let's do the classic card of the day. Reminder, check your WNBA fantasy teams and get them set up before the deadline this afternoon at 1, before games start. And if you don't do it, you won't get your lineup set in time. All right, let's see who are we going to get for the classic card. And I got to get done and get out of here because this game's coming fast. It's going to be at 3 o'clock. And we are going to need to work out is what I got to work out before the game starts. So, all right, here we go. Classic card of the day, full name answer. It's not that hard. So here you go. Yeah, who's that? John Sally? Who's the player on the card? This one's so easy. Come on now. This is a 50-point card. This is so easy. Let's see. Yeah, Patrick Ewing for Slug Deezy. Slug Deezy keeps his win streak. He's got 4 in a row now, just ahead of Isaac and Fiercey. Of course, that's Patrick Ewing. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Oh, Neil's brought it up. One of your favorite Republicans has gone on to glory. Yeah, there's an interesting tweet that he made. Like, if we nominate Trump, we'll all be destroyed and it'll be the end of us. Well, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, anyway, I don't even want to bring that up. I shouldn't have brought it up in the first place. All right, so Slug Deezy's streak continues. This is the 4th day in a row that he has gotten the classic card of the day, and he's getting Patrick Ewing today, and it's only 50 points. It's too easy. Slug Deezy is officially in the lead for our trivia standings right now. He passed Fiercey yesterday, and well, he just added another 50 points to his lead. So yeah, congratulations, Slug Deezy. Keep going. You might get your name on the trivia trophy like Fiercey did last week, next year, next summer. So yeah, let's see where's Slug Deezy at now. I'll read off the scores real quick. Why is this taking so long to load? My computer is slow. It's like my internet is slow right now. Let's see, 1750 for Slug Deezy, and Fiercey's 1550. So you got a 200-point lead as of right now. Seymour is at 1250, and Stargate is 1150. Those are the top 4. Kenny 900. Yeah, get your Raptor Freak trivia points with the classic card every day. And when we play Raptor Freak Tuesday trivia at some point, well, you can get more points that way. Yeah, let's see. Trevor J, what are you doing, man? Don't be butt dialing people and deleting messages. What did you do, man? Seriously. I need to restore him. This is stupid. Trevor, don't butt dial stuff, man. Like, Trevor's not even here. He didn't even comment or anything, but he's moderating the chat. All right, Neil, my apologies. In some ways, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take Trevor's moderator status because he's done this too many times recently. Either way, all right, y'all, I'm out. Tempo, you got a game today. We got injuries. Niara is questionable. Brittany, Kiki, and Temi are out. On the other side of things, Leone is questionable. Satu is questionable. And then the development players are probably going to be sitting out. The referees for the game are Kevin Fahey, Kelsey Reynolds, and Blanca Burns. We're 2-3 record with the referees for the Tempo Liberty game today. And keys to victory. We got to get Jones in foul trouble. I like that one. We got to continue to find Ionescu and make sure that she's not getting free looks without hindrance. And we need to box out and stop Brianna Stewart from dominating in different ways that she can. It's a tall order. There's a lot to take care of with the Liberty. But if somebody knows that team well, it's Coach Sandy. So come on, can we show some pride, tempo of players, and get this one for our coach to look good? Because they beat us in the first Commissioner's Cup game. We owe them, and we want to even the series out at 1-1. We don't want New York to just run roughshod over us. So let's get this win today, somehow, some way, in a gutsy way. So do your best, play hard, and Marina, go for 50 again. Why not? I'd love to see that in Montreal. That's right. Thank you, Isaac, for the was not was. Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. That's right. All right, let's go Tempo. Let's go Montreal. Let's see y'all come out and support the Tempo once again today, 3 p.m. Eastern, tip-off, Tempo, Liberty, WNBA action. And tomorrow we'll preview the Summer League game with the Raptors and the Pacers and react to this WNBA game tomorrow. All right, y'all, have a great Sunday. Let's go Tempo.